Some of the content of Patriots Unfiltered may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
The world's original podcast.
Welcome to Patriots Unfiltered.
Evan is down at the Senior Bowl with his reporting hat on. He's got his little press ticket.
A lot of goings-on down there.
Yeah, in the sash of his fedora.
Does he always look like he's crying?
Yeah.
He always cries at the national
He
anthem.
sweats out of his eyes.
He sweats out of his eyes?
Yeah.
Is that the medical term?
A game where two very... little gas there.
Josh has got a great resume. He's just sitting
I
out
don't
there.
think he has a great
you know?
resume. He has a great resume with Tom Brady.
Okay, well, that's a pretty good resume. He's the
didn't-
greatest quarterback of all time. But he did nothing.
He didn't have anything to do with developing Tom Brady. He became the offensive coordinator when Tom Brady had already won 3 titles.
And then
like,
he was just
had
along
nothing
for the
to
ride
do with
the whole
developing.
time. I don't buy that. I don't buy that. And all right,
He
either
was
way,
a
then
coaching
he learned.
assistant, Mike. Charlie
Tom
Weiss
Brady
had
was
that.
Tom Brady in 2004, and that was it. That was who he was the rest of the time. Nothing changed in,
In
2007.
2005,
Nothing changed in 2007.
we have a chip in the ball. We can tell definitively, electronically, whether or not Josh Allen got the 40-yard
I don't
line.
know. I don't know. I
Thanks, you've been
honestly-
helpful.
All right, we're going to take a break because my food's here. Mike brought a sandwich in. Yeah, so good for Mike.
This is Patriots Unfiltered.
Presented by Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com.
All right, welcome to Patriots Unfiltered. It is Thursday here at Gillette Stadium. We got a big off-season Thursday show coming up. We got Paul, we got Deuce, we got Alex, and Tamara. To what do we owe this honor, Tamara?
Finally having a seat on the show because Evan isn't here.
What are you talking about? During the season, he misses the first 20 minutes because he's in the locker room.
So am I.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess you're with him.
Yeah, that's true.
I guess you're
Fair
with
enough.
him. Yeah.
It's like
No.
Latimer, a
The
seat at
studio,
the table.
the studio gets updated. There's couches in here, but not enough for me. So odd man out, odd woman out.
Open seat.
You can sit on an arm of a chair, yeah. Stand behind us like Evan did.
Yeah, we'll
when
put Evan
Vrabel
in the
was
corner
here.
again.
I'd give you my chair, but I love this show. I'm not leaving it.
I had to sit on an ottoman recently. The lighting was terrible, and
Exactly.
don't recommend
Speaking
it.
of lighting,
Didn't get me the right way.
look at Miss Tan over here, back from Guatemala
Sure am.
at a wedding.
Yep.
Yeah. How was that?
Amazing. I don't know if we have any Guatemalan listeners, but what a
I'm
country.
sure we do.
You're not disgruntled because you had to go to a destination wedding?
This one, no, because I don't think I was there for 2 weeks. I don't think I spent $1,000.
2 weeks?
Yeah.
Wow.
We did the first week in Antigua, Guatemala.
And you didn't spend $1,000?
I don't think
what
I
did you
did.
eat, bugs?
No. I ate
Rice and beans.
rice and beans,
Rice and beans.
Rice
amazing,
and
like,
beans.
we went to these
That's no
amazing
vacation for me.
steakhouses,
Kill your own
gourmet
cow.
breakfast prepared by my Airbnb hosts every day.
Oh, wow.
The food was amazing.
No, that sounds really good.
We were up in the volcanoes in Antigua,
And the weather
then,
was nice.
Didn't rain at all.
I mean, look at the
In
tan.
Antigua, it was like 75, 80 every day, and we're up in the volcanoes. So cool. I saw a volcano erupt. And then after the wedding, we went to this coastal city called, well, first we went to Monterrico, but that wasn't the vibe. So then we went to El Peredon. It's a little like surf town on the Pacific.
Yeah.
Bunch of German and Dutch surfer nomads.
Yeah.
Lived it up. It was incredible. I cannot wait to go back to Guatemala.
Wow, that's cool.
But yeah, had a wedding
glowing.
down there. Shout out
Okay.
my friends Betsy
So
and Bets.
was there a beach? Like, is there beaches or?
There are.
Yeah.
Yep. It's on. You have the Pacific
And
Ocean
can you
on one
drink
side.
on the beach? Like, do they have drink service?
Well, it wasn't really a resort I was at, but we
Oh.
definitely drank on the beach.
Okay.
But you just got to go to the liquor store,
That's
take it out
interesting.
there.
BYOB.
Yeah, that's how you
BYOB.
don't spend $1,000.
Yeah.
BYOB.
Well, like Uber's $4. We
Is it
took.
safe?
Yeah, I felt safe everywhere I was for sure.
Okay.
I mean, Antigua's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, so there's Mayan ruins. It's a huge tourism destination.
Okay.
So yeah, I felt super safe.
have to put it on my list.
We were leaving the bars late at night, walking through the cobblestone streets, no issues.
Nice. And how was the wedding itself?
Best wedding ever.
Yeah.
It was great.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're going to go the distance.
I think they will. I think they will. It was up like in the mountains too, so you're just the venue's
Oh, boy.
outside, surrounded by
Wow.
all the volcanoes.
What did
Wow.
you do for your wedding? Mine was like, that wasn't
Yeah.
anything like this. Like a volcano's erupting while they're saying their vows.
I
The
yelled
guys at the VFW hall were really nice.
I yelled at Fred for watching NFL playoff games during my wedding.
giving you
So did his wife.
So everybody behaved like was the speeches okay?
The speeches were fine. It's actually funny because I was a bridesmaid in this wedding, and I've been a bridesmaid more times than I can count in the last 2 years.
27 dresses.
Never the maid of honor. So like all my good friends have like sisters or someone else. However, I still find myself writing all these maid of honor speeches. So it's like,
Humble brag.
because
Professional writer.
people enlist in my help.
Yeah.
So I actually was sitting
Punch this
there
up.
at our table. The table I was at was a bunch of friends from college. We all stayed together the 2 weeks, like 8 of us. And I'm like, I've written so many wedding speeches, and my friends are playing themselves, not having me just give one. It'd be the best one ever. And I'm saying this to
Really
my friend
humble
Anna
brag.
and Billy, who are getting married in August, and they're just kind of like looking at each other, and I didn't think anything of it. But then at the end of the trip, the last day, they gave me a card asking me to officiate their wedding.
Oh, wow.
So big
you're gonna
honor.
get ordained?
Wow.
Got to get ordained.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was funny because I was just talking so much crap about all the bridesmaid and groomsmen speeches you hear, like for those of you who don't know me, my name's Janelle, and I was roommates with the bride in college. If you had told me I would be here today, I never would have, we've all sat through those.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It's pitch
So,
perfect.
shout out my friends Anna and Billy. They're going to have like a real proper speech as they get married
Written
instead
by
of
AI.
some BS. No,
You
I
can
would
workshop
never
it here if you
ChatGPT
want.
that.
Okay.
Now, will
Written
Janelle
by
be at this
AF,
wedding?
not AI.
Not this
AF.
one.
AF.
not AI.
Shout out to my friend Janelle. I actually didn't write her speech. She gave it herself.
Obviously.
At my friend
Obviously,
Morgan's
she,
wedding.
she went rogue.
Oh my God.
That was the best she could come up with.
That was the first name I could think of because
Is it tough when she gets like 4 pages? She stands up with like 4 pages, and you're like, oh boy. this
no,
is
you know
gonna
what
be
kills
long.
me is the iPhone.
The phone.
Oh yeah.
I like
right.
it. I like it
Write
when
it on a nice piece of like
I like it-
stock card or something. No one wants an iPhone in their wedding pictures.
I like it when it's like the best friend or a sister, and then they start talking, and then they start crying, and then people go, "Oh," and it's like, "Oh, come on."
Yeah, or when the groomsman like makes it
I
all
just-
about himself being more handsome than the groom.
Yeah,
It's like, I don't know.
talking
man,
about
you're,
past
like,
hookups or other
5'8", not
girlfriends
that
or-
cute. I don't know.
I just don't like weddings. I
Yeah.
think they're a waste of time.
No. Oh, jeez.
Just
Waste of time.
Do
Cynical.
a private ceremony and then have a party and then be done
See,
with it.
I enjoy weddings, but I would agree generally with Fred that I think you get invited to too many of them.
Yes.
That you shouldn't really be, like if they're your family or
yeah.
really close friends. I love that wedding.
Yeah.
But I think people in general, it's too many.
I'm in like the never area though. Like you go to a lot of weddings like late 20s, early 30s, and then you hit
Yeah.
that kind of,
Oh, then
you
you're-
know,
then you're
and then you
home
get like
free.
maybe
You're
a
done.
second wedding, which is always
Then
you
you're
know
home
weird.
free. Now
small,
all you
know,
got you just got
wait for
you,
kids
you
and
get your
grandkids
kids
and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, people are like
Wedding
they're
talk.
talking weddings.
off
Let's talk some football.
Talk some Senior Bowl.
Yeah.
Senior Bowl. We got Evan down there. I hope everyone's when reading his updates on Patriots.com.
Yeah.
A lot of good information.
Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff.
There
Talk to
seems to be
Vrabel
some
and
pretty good
Cowden.
depth down there.
So, yeah, he got some stuff from Vrabel that I found encouraging. Of course, I was smacked around for being encouraged by it when I was on my show yesterday.
I know. Patriots
Um,
Pravda.
But I do think that the quotes that Evan got from Vrabel, specifically about McDaniels, I think are alleviating some of my concerns. And I called them small C concerns anyway. Kind of like the Celtics, Alex. I have some small C concerns there.
Okay, yeah.
And we'll get to that later.
Lowercase
But-
c.
McDaniels, my only my only fear of McDaniels is that it's more of the same and sort of locked in the past. I thought some of the things that Vrabel said about McDaniels being willing to listen to other voices. I think that's why probably Thomas Brown is here, who comes off that McVay tree, incorporating some quarterback runs, RPOs that Evan talked about, that Vrabel said that that is all part of the picture. That has me a little bit more excited about
Yeah.
the direction of the offense.
I mean, he'd really have to be kind of, I don't know, really, really close-minded. I'm talking about McDaniels, to come in here and expect that I can just run a Tom Brady offense with Drake May. That would. He's smarter than that.
Right. He just
You know,
spent. Yeah.
So let's just give him more credit than that. You know, for those people, oh, it's going to be the whole thing. Like, he's a smart guy. He knows what he has in Drake May.
Yeah.
And he knows he has to adjust and take advantage of his talent. So let's hold off on the place is burning down critique before we see.
Well, that wasn't
Yeah,
me.
I feel like he'd be doing himself a disservice to come in here and try to do the same thing that he tried to do with Tom Brady, or even the same thing that he tried to do with Mac Jones. Like, these are totally different quarterbacks. The game has changed. You have to come in here and be able to adapt.
Right.
Spent the whole offseason just playing pickleball, like just holding his playbook, like, who wants me? I'm ready to go. I got it. You know, like he hopefully he evolved. I mean, I think some of the questions though is, I think specifically we've talked a lot about the run game, and that was the big thing. 2022, we're going to the wide zone. We're going to run a lot more of this. Doesn't really fit the personnel. I think the big piece of Josh's offense was more power schemes and probably fits their personnel a little bit better. Maybe fits Rhamondre Stevenson a little better. So I think that's where I'm curious what kind of changes. I mean, I think Paul listed the obvious ones of RPOs, mobile quarterback stuff, sure. But what's the base run's going to look like? Is a fullback going to come back? Are they going to try to go get a blocking
That would be my
tight end?
guess.
Those kind of things. Is that...
I was
you
trying
said
to
yesterday,
accentuate the positive.
Yeah, well, there's a base, right? I mean, that he's not going to totally change everything. All his terminology is not going to be different. There's probably core tenets he still truly believes in, but you can package it.
Paul wants to hear. Yep, we're not going to be running the ball this year. I'll be like, yes, finally.
No, the how you run the ball.
Yeah.
And I think Mike is right.
Yeah.
They're probably going to go back to gap, power, fullback, and
Hat on a hat.
Yeah.
It's interesting that Deuce brought up the running backs. I was just talking to Alex this morning when we were getting ready in the locker room. And I was saying, Rhamondre Stevenson, he got that big contract and he wasn't utilized appropriately this season. And also he didn't perform that well his season. So I'm not going to put it all on the coaches and say like that it's their fault why he fumbled as many times as he did. But it'd be nice to see Rhamondre Stevenson get back to his old ways and be the running back that they signed and extended.
Yeah.
Hold on to the
Prior
ball.
to this year, was fumbling an issue with Rhamondre?
I mean, out of the gate it
little
was.
bit. But not like
Not
that.
like
I mean,
this
obviously
year, though.
this was bad.
I think it was like a couple fumbles early
had a-
on his
he had a
rookie year,
handful.
and then he sat
And
down.
then the spotlight went
Oh,
on
that's
it,
right,
and then
early
it-
on.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right. Bill sat him, and we were mad because he sat him.
Well,
Yeah.
they sat him for as long as he did.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. But, yeah, so we've got to figure that out.
Yeah.
Whether it's the Kevin Falk elbow sleeve or whatever it is, he's got to do something there.
He's got to do the thing from the program, like he's going to be walking around with the ball. Actually, wasn't that a Damian Harris joke? I think when he was here, Damian Harris was talking about the movie The Program. The character famously fumbles and then has to walk around school holding the ball the whole time, and everybody's always trying to get it out. But I don't know what the answer is with that. I don't know. I mean, you brought up the Kevin Falk thing, like, which I think could be almost as much mental as it is actually physically
Sure.
helping hold the ball. It's like, I got my pad now. I'm never going to fumble. But
Whatever it takes.
yeah, and to tie it into the Senior Bowl and some of the draft stuff, it's supposed to be a pretty good running back class. So, maybe they consider some other guys just as depth. I mean, you don't necessarily need a guy
Or
to come in
not
immediately.
just as depth.
Yeah, or not if it doesn't work out, to have a little bit of, just somebody you like, and maybe it doesn't, day 3 kind of thing, and you're taking a flyer, but if it's a deep class, it might be worth doing that and investing in somebody else.
Yep. I agree. I think, I would take a running back in 5th or 6th round or,
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's hard. It's you talk about what you need, and then you start to hear as Daniel Jeremiah put out his top 50 prospects, and you start to get a sense of the class and where there's depth, and it might not be what you need, but we always talk about, but maybe you take one of those guys because that's where the good players are this year, and worry about filling the holes elsewhere, or at least know that going in with free agency and saying, like there isn't a lot of great position X. Let's really try to target that in free agency.
Yeah, there's not a lot of like high end depth when it comes to offensive tackle, but it seems like there's some later round guys that might be worth picking up, and some guys with like amazing measurables.
Oh yeah, the kid from BC is a monster.
Yeah, was he 6'7",
yeah.
350 or something
Yeah.
like that? But
And
they
like-
say he moves around really well.
Yeah, like 150 of it's just in his head alone. His head is just like, it's bigger than me and Andy's combined, probably.
Is that right?
Yeah, we played against him actually in high school.
Oh, that's a good story.
Will did. Will's freshman year. He's a good player. That's Steve Trapillo's kid. I don't know if you know.
Oh, I remember
him
the
from
name.
BC.
Sure.
Yeah, he's a good player. Ozzie Trapillo. I don't think he's necessarily someone that the Patriots are going to be looking at to plug and play. I don't think that's the kind of player he is. But he had a better day, I guess, from everything I read yesterday. The first day he struggled a little bit. Yesterday he was better. The kid that seems to be getting all the attention is the guard, the interior guy from North Dakota State.
Yep.
He seems like he's been one of the best players there, period, regardless of position.
That's
Yeah,
what's fun about
what's
this.
there's also another one from Kentucky, I think.
Yeah, Deontay. Oh God, I'm blanking on his last name. It'll come to me in a second. But yeah, he's a monster too. But I think he's another one who, it's not like Jordan Davis where you Walker is his last name. Deion Walker. Where Jordan Davis was like not only a freak size-wise, but he also moved pretty well. And I think this kid's a little bit more raw. I don't know. I wonder. Again, going back to the defensive transition, how much are you going to focus on that? What do you think about Christian Barmore? I think that position is vital to what they're going to do to have a guy who can get upfield like Christian Barmore can. It's just, can Christian Barmore still do it?
I wonder going to, on Barmore, if the team has information now, like, no, he's going to be fine.
Right.
That's a good point.
Totally.
Like,
That's
you
exactly
wonder what they know.
Yeah.
Because maybe you can't know anything, and it's just impossible until he goes through certain treatment. But I just wonder how much information they have and what they are preparing for in that interior.
I know. I was showing Tamara my nerd depth chart, and I was like, so Christian Barmore is a little I kind of have him in like gray. It's like,
So,
I don't know.
Do you feign interest when Mike showed you this dorky chart?
Hey, look here,
Yeah, he printed one out just for me, and so now I have one at my desk.
Oh, so you actually are interested
for
then.
reference.
Okay.
Yeah, for reference.
So I'm the only one who feigns interest.
Because I've said it before. I'm intrigued by this Mason Graham kid from Michigan.
He's a good player for
Yeah, he
And
is.
some of the mock drafts have him going as low as number 7.
Yeah.
So if you can move down a little bit, get him, and then pick somebody else up later in the first, that would be, I would be open to that.
I think him and Carter. Carter would be my top choice, but those two guys.
Oh, Carter.
Yeah,
Abdul Carter.
Abdul Carter. What's the matter? Oh, sorry.
You meant our Carter.
Sorry.
He's gone, Paul. Get over it. Abdul Carter's going in the top 3.
So you
There's
guys
no
want to go
question.
defense with first pick?
Well, if it's like this, Mason Graham seems to be a blue chipper.
I'm trying to figure out who the best player is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because really, they need
Yeah.
everything. I'm just looking at a scroll right now that has Travis Hunter.
Yeah.
Tied to the Patriots at 4. I don't know who's.
But if
set
I,
Daniel
if
Jeremiah,
I
don't
could get
know.
Graham and then pick later on the next pick a tackle who's actually played tackle, that would be a good pickup.
Are you leaning
there was
heavier
tone there.
towards best player available or your biggest need?
Best player available, unless it's a quarterback
Right.
or
Maybe
Unless
a
it's not a
cornerback.
position to
maybe
be.
even
Like,
corner.
That's why
back.
I always push back at, the teams that get in trouble that pick for need. No, teams get in trouble by picking bad players.
Yeah.
Unless it's Travis Hunter.
Do you know what I mean?
So Travis Hunter is an exception.
All teams
Yeah,
pick
if
for
cornerback,
need.
I would take Travis Hunter.
Yeah. Yeah, also Daniel Jeremiah, he has Will Campbell listed as a tackle too. So, we'll get the arm measurables, which everyone is very curious to. But I don't know. That pick might make the most sense. If you think he can play tackle and you really believe it, that guy, I also think, I just like his kind of presence and his personality, and it seems kind of like it will be in line with what Vrabel's
Well, at number 4, I can't be. I think he can play tackle.
Right.
That's my concern.
Oh, yeah, right.
We cannot accept that.
Yeah, well, we need a
And whoever we pick at 4, we know he can play the position that we're drafting him to play.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
There's some risk there.
But there also is,
Absolutely.
if you reach or if you miss on McMillan, and he just can't play wide
Yeah.
receiver, there's not, at least if you miss on Campbell as a tackle, you kind of have a backup plan where he'll probably be a really good guard. And I know it's not what you need, but at least it's not N'Keal Harry where the guy just can't play and there's nothing we can do with him.
If you pick McMillan and he's N'Keal Harry,
Then there's something wrong.
we'll be having a coaching search again shortly.
Right.
Or at least a personnel search.
Right.
Yeah.
But Mason Graham's appealing to me. But I just, again, I think with the defense, there's so many needs. And if you have Devon Godshaw and Christian Barmore, those are kind of your guys inside, and that's, and no, not, nothing against Mason Graham. I think I'd be excited to have him. And certainly if they have questions about Barmore, I think it makes a lot of sense. Because that's what they need. They lost a lot of games up front. And even if he's a third defensive tackle and rotational and he's on passing downs, he could be a sure thing.
Yeah, I just like the idea of just this dominant interior line that is constantly pushing the pocket and getting the quarterback off schedule.
And if Godshaw stays, he's not going to be here much longer.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Another year, maybe 2 tops.
Yeah.
Vrabel might identify him as one of those veteran guys he wants to keep. I don't know if he has any kind of past relationship with him, but he's a guy that he could be here, and I think it's 50-50.
Yeah,
Do you think it's the same for Dietrich Wise?
I
Like
think he's
50-50, or do you
probably
think he's
less.
out?
He's probably less than 50-50 because he's actually a free agent.
Yeah.
So I think Jonathan Jones, Dietrich Wise, I could see them both moving on.
Yeah. And then we had some news, some coaching people leaving. Brian Belichick
Yeah,
and
Pellegrino.
Pellegrino leaving. So cornerback and safety, and then they hired or reportedly hired the guy from where did he come from?
Buffalo.
Buffalo.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Which is like a nickelback coach.
Yeah.
Nickelback coach.
Yeah.
But it's not getting too specialized.
And also what an assistant head coach, I got his name right here. Sorry, Kevin Richardson, was that the one? Or Scott Booker.
And
Scott
if people
Booker.
are wondering, why aren't they
We were both at Notre
officially
Dame at the
announcing
same
these
time.
things? I think the plan is they announced the coordinators together.
Yeah.
And I think the plan is for all these assistant coaches to do one big announcement once they have the staff, rather than a whole bunch of announcements every day.
And still no receiver coach or, someone who could possibly be the receiver coach. I
Yeah,
think.
and that's
So it's
interesting.
kind
We
of
haven't heard
interesting.
anything about Troy Brown. I know he
I'll be
wasn't
back,
receivers
don't worry.
last year,
But all of those
I feel like
guys,
last
have-
year we didn't really hear about him either.
I
And it was
know.
kind of like
Yeah.
Yeah.
he's still here, but like his role
It's in the
wasn't.
circle of trust. I don't
Yeah.
you mean you're going to say
Yeah.
any of those guys are
any
wide
of the
receiver
guys, I don't know any of the.
Not really. Not really.
But no, I'm not saying that they have been wide receivers coaches in the past. I'm saying, is there any chance that any of these offensive assistants could be working with wide receivers? I don't know any
It could
of these
be.
guys.
I mean, maybe that's
I
one of
don't
the
know,
things that they want to do is like get all the titles squared away.
Like it
Yeah.
definitely seems the guys that they
Yeah, I don't really
the
see
guys
it.
they
I don't
hired on
really see it.
defense
Yeah.
were all Vrabel ties.
Yeah.
The offensive guys, I don't really know a whole lot about.
Yeah.
So I can't really sort of
Yeah.
chart exactly.
I don't really see it. I mean, Ashton Grant and Riley Larkin both seem like they're going to be, quarterback guys. Marone and Hoteling are offensive line guys. Thomas Brown has kind of been reported as a tight end pass game guy, unless maybe he's maybe he could do it. And then Tony Deuce is pretty clearly a running back coach. So
Right.
all of those ones seem like they're, I don't know. I think it's still a hole and we'll see. It's, obviously a really interesting position that we're all kind of interested in.
When do you think, like, by a certain time, you would hope that they'd have these things? I mean, in the past, we wouldn't find out titles for assistant coaches until August sometimes.
Right.
No, I'm serious.
I think
No,
before
you're
the
right.
combine.
But
I think by the combine.
You would think by the combine?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think,
Yeah.
When did we have that little new coach mixer last year and everyone was announced?
I think it was in
and-
February vacation because I
Yeah.
was not here for it.
Right.
I
Oh,
was
yeah.
away. That's why I'm picking that. But maybe.
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
And there's also a possibility that there's still a guy that's coaching.
Yeah.
Like the Saints head coach job hasn't been filled yet. A lot of people think Kellen Moore might get it.
Mm-hmm.
But they have to wait.
So he's
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
obviously working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Pellegrino and Brian Belichick. Just this morning, I think on Twitter, DeMarcus Covington is going to Green Bay as the defensive line coach.
Okay.
So there's another. We all knew that these guys weren't going to be back. But
Yep.
I think that's really
he
good
landed
for
in
him.
Green Bay.
Yeah, I think it's really good for him. I think the impression I got last year was that, he might have been a little bit unprepared to be the full DC, but that he was an excellent
That
defensive
seems
line
like
coach.
the
But
theme of last year.
But it's funny how I'm saying it,
Unprepared.
Paul. It's funny how it works, though, because,
I was prepared.
2 years ago, Jerry Montgomery was the Packers' defensive line coach, and then he came here and was there. And now DeMarcus Covington is going back there, so it's always just,
trading talent.
always, what do you call it? What's that game with the chairs?
Musical
Musical
chairs.
chairs.
Wow.
Your
Well,
brain
it
just
is-
blanked on
You all
something.
right?
I know.
It is funny too.
Didn't get
Like,
much sleep last night.
like around the league, how that happens. And I saw that. Did Saleh go back to San Francisco?
Yeah.
Yes.
DC, right? And then they
Yeah.
had Nick Sorensen last year,
Yeah.
who replaced Steve Wilkes. Steve Wilkes got the Jets DC job, I think.
Yeah.
So it's like everybody's not happy with the guy they have,
I
and then
know.
everybody's excited to get the guy that you
Right.
didn't want.
I know,
it's
and
like
that's such
just
there's
ridiculous.
nobody
Yes.
perfect, and that's why it's so easy for like your shows to just everybody's got baggage at this point. They're either completely unproven or they got baggage.
Well,
you know?
Mike's got some beef with my shows.
No, yeah.
Who doesn't?
Well,
That's
who
a
are the
good
two
point.
guys they would have liked better than Josh McDaniels
Tight
yesterday?
pants guys.
Tight pants guys,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
From
Yeah.
the Vikings.
Minnesota and
So,
the Rams.
yeah.
I've been pretty open. I
Yeah.
wanted someone off the McVay tree. I'm
Yeah.
willing to say that that's Thomas Brown
Yeah.
until
So,
I find out that he can't coach. I
If
don't,
we just
I don't know.
get Josh a stylist that dresses him in tight pants,
Very,
will
very
they be
tight.
happy?
Like,
Well,
let's
a lot
go
of
to Dedham
weight
and get him
He did.
Lululemon
I told you, he
pants
looks
today.
great.
Some Lululemon
he looked
joggers.
so
we can get
You
those.
know, so
the ABC
it came to my attention
and you
before
also
the show.
need like the fashion haircut.
Oh, yeah.
So it
you know,
came
like a lot of product.
No more
Okay.
visors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some gel.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
That
Before
like
the
tight
show-
fade with the
Yeah.
long on the
Yeah.
top,
Yeah.
Lululemon joggers,
Yeah.
They're not helping this.
and maybe a medium size shirt, but they're really a large.
Yeah,
Buttons
absolutely.
are kind of
That's why
struggling a little
they're
bit.
called schmediums.
Got it. Hey, put the order in. I'll go to Lululemon today.
That's how I'd show up in a t-shirt and Big Head would be like, couldn't get a shirt that fit.
These
Trusted
coaches
producer
arrive,
Matt
their
has
welcome
informed
package.
us that we have some new listeners
Oh, yeah?
that aren't necessarily up to date with our lingo.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, yeah.
So you might be hearing tight pants guy and thinking, what are they talking about? It's not literally a tight, like a guy who wears tight
Yes,
pants.
it is.
In general. It's a mindset of
It's
offense.
a mindset.
Of offense. It's a
But
new,
why?
It's a new wave of offense.
Because
Quad and hamstring
No,
size
no.
are directly correlated to your ability to coach
Okay,
offense.
so I just want like people that might be new to the show to not think that I'm being superficial and wanting a change to the offense because I don't like the way Josh McDaniels looks.
no, but
Because that has nothing to do with
Paul
but
it.
the
likes
tight
his
pants
coach
came
thick.
from like
I
guys
like my
like
coach's buff.
but it came from guys like McVay with the Rams who like started bringing in this new wave offense, and all these guys were young guys who seemed to wear tight pants, like these sport pants, like the stretchy sport pants, and their staff would all wear it as well. And so you see all these guys, kind of well-built guys in shape. Not your typical coaches that we've seen in the past. These are like the new age guys, and so tight pants came from that.
But to me, it's symbolic of a style.
Yeah.
Like if Alex Van Pelt ran the Sean McVay system, I'd have been perfectly fine with Alex Van Pelt.
Right.
And he is not a
He's
tight
not a
pants
tight
guy.
pants guy.
So just getting real back to my Falcon and Mats thing, it was just, they're saying that, and all I'm seeing is the other side of the street. I'm like, oh, so the quarterback's coach who got 14 good games out of Sam Darnold, that's the guy that's the answer. That's what you would feel great about. You'd feel better about him, which is just the unknown. I get it.
Anger.
But it's also the, like,
Anger.
you want the box. You got a bird in the hand, or you got one, like, I don't know what that one is. Like, Josh McDaniels, you kind of know what it is. I get it.
Yep.
But it's also that intrigue of like, well, maybe he's awesome. But at the end of the day, the guy just coached Sam Darnold for got a good 14 good games out of him, and then he kind of regressed to the mean and looked like Sam Darnold. The other point, which I don't know if I'm angry enough yet, Paul, to make
Oh,
this
no,
point.
you're angry. That's why I'm just letting it
So,
go.
but no,
It's
I'm going to
beautiful
start.
stuff.
I'm going to start
Bringing
with.
a tear to my
I'm going
eye.
to start with a hat tip to you. Went a little bit back into Josh at the Rams, and I'm like, that was pretty bad. I mean, and Bradford was pretty good the year before. But the other thing is that the head coach of that terrible team is also now the beloved coordinator of the NFL right now. So I just thought I went back to Spagnuolo. So I went back to,
But someone who
I don't
maybe-
want a failed head coach coming back. So it goes back to what we just said. Like everybody's got baggage. If either you've got baggage and you failed somewhere, or nobody knows anything about you, and you got to pick. And my final point is just that I think they made the best decision, the safest decision. If I was going to bet on a head coach and an offensive coordinator in this cycle, this is the safest move I would met. Is it risky? Not as risky as I would say. So maybe those risky moves would have paid off more.
Not
But
as
that's
risky as
basically-
Brian Schottenheimer, according to Jerry Jones. Did you hear that?
But that's basically the argument is, do you want to go safe or do you want to go for the home run? And a lot of people are more comfortable going safe. That's fine.
Also, I
I'd
feel
have gone
like
for the home run.
Josh might
Well, why
be.
can't Josh be a home run?
Yeah, well, that's
Can
what
he
Spags
be?
is. So
Right,
Spags is a home
right,
run for
right.
the Chiefs as the defensive coordinator,
Right.
right?
So I
but,
think-
but Spags has been dominant as a defensive coordinator in multiple places.
Fair, but Josh is now getting a chance at an actual different place now, I feel like. I know
Well, the
St.
only,
Louis one
the only
aside,
other
but
place
this
that
feels-
Josh was offensive coordinator was St. Louis, right?
Yeah, but he also ran the offense at other places.
Yeah, but
Right?
you could say that.
I could?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you could say that.
But-
Okay. I
But
will,
but
because
you
he
have
did.
to mention the production that Devontae Adams and Josh Jacobs had in that year, right? I mean, I know they weren't great, but those guys had epic years. I mean, those two, and I know
Yeah,
that
and
that
he ran
talent
the
doesn't
quarterback
exist
out of
right
town
here.
after it.
But I
'Cause he
but,
can't get
but,
along with
but,
them.
But here's the thing, Paul. If maybe you weren't born to be a head coach, and you're all of a sudden a head coach, it has to take away from your ability to
I'm
do the
definitely, and
offense.
if people are listening and they heard me yesterday on my show, clearly you know that I'm playing both sides of the ball here. Because yesterday I was Mike on with Felger and Max. I played the Mike Dussault role, saying, "No, this is really good. You guys don't understand."
Ultimate
and now
devil's
I'm
advocate.
just trying to get under Mike's skin here on our show.
No, it's good. It's good.
Because that's what I do.
I know.
I argue both sides
As he was
of
walking,
everything.
as he was walking out yesterday, I'm like, I love Paul on Felger. It's a whole new Paul. It's like he's calm. He's like, you guys are crazy. Let
Some
me
might
tell
call
you.
that corporate Paul.
Corporate Paul. Yeah.
I do
Stay
agree
out of
with
trouble,
you.
Paul.
I do agree with you, Fred. I don't think everyone's born to be a head coach. Like I know, like there is you start off as an assistant, you go to DC, then you want to be a head coach. But I feel like some people are kind of just meant to be coordinators.
Yeah,
couldn't
I-
agree
Like
with
maybe
that more.
Robert Saleh, maybe he's meant to be a coordinator. I don't know.
Could
but
be.
like could be.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it shouldn't be a knock that he failed at being a head coach because maybe he's just a really
Right.
good
I
coordinator.
always bring up the example of Dick LeBeau with the Steelers. I mean, people asked him, "Why, don't you want to be a head coach?" And he's like, "No, I'm a coordinator. That's what I do."
And along
And he was a
those
damn
lines,
good one.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice too that if they are successful, Joss isn't just going to run away at the next head coaching job. You know, like I would just love to see finally some continuity here.
Yeah, well,
with
if
the
he-
OC position.
Well, if he could do what Spags has done in KC and really, like, everyone's like, geez, I mean, and that's what I keep going back to. I just call it a huge opportunity for Josh to, go into, yes, he's back in New England, but it seems like it's going to be a little different this time. And I also just wonder, as he was sitting there in the offseason, or last year, did he ever think, like, I might get a chance to coach Drake? Like, was that in the back of his mind ever, like,
Oh,
maybe
I'm sure
this
it
will
was.
line up and I'll get a chance to coach this kid? And, maybe he was kind of cooking things up already in his mind of, while he was making off-season trips. I mean, maybe that's a little
Well,
bit
the thing
too
about
soon,
it is
but-
whether it's Drake May or Jaden Daniels or any of these guys, there's a lot of quarterbacks out there that can run and pass.
Yeah.
That you have to use both of those talents in order
I
to
feel like
succeed.
that's the way the NFL is trending.
Right.
Like all the
Yeah.
quarterbacks that are coming into the draft. I mean, even look at Shador. Like they're all like that now.
Right.
Like there's not this Tom Brady pocket passer situation. They're more mobile and they're more dual threat.
Right,
It's
so you
not
be-
just
you-
Jalen Hurts
you-
in the league.
Right,
now.
you better be ready for that if
Yeah.
you're going to be an offensive coordinator.
How do you make killers? That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
Like, how do you make somebody?
I don't think-
And
I
are
think
you
that's-
just born with it,
I-
or
that
can you
starts
get?
I
That?
think-
long before,
I think-
sadly.
No, right.
I think
that's
it's
something.
innate.
You can't teach that.
I
Was
think it's
Patrick
innate.
Mahomes a killer in college? I don't know. I'm just asking. I don't know. Was he that kind of guy in big games? That
The-
because that was Brady kind of, right?
He
Brady?
didn't have any big
The
games.
question
have
is
it in
less
college.
how do you make killers, is more how do you identify killers.
Well, I mean,
how
I
do
think
you
Brady-
what are the traits before you draft them that you can look at and say this guy has it in him?
Wasn't it the Rose Bowl with Brady at Michigan that he
Yeah.
had a really good game?
They-
Absolutely.
I think it was the Orange Bowl, but yeah, he
Yeah,
played.
Orange
He had
Bowl,
a
sorry.
good come from behind game. But the thing about Brady that was impossible to know is why he kept having to split time.
Yeah.
And
Because Lloyd Carr was
And I-
fixated on Drew Henson.
Yeah.
no, I know.
Yeah, that's why.
Do you think if he had Tom Brady, like knowing what he did, that he would have been fixated on Drew Henson?
But he didn't give Tom Brady a chance.
No, I know. But do you think if he knew that Tom Brady was as good as he was, he would have or not?
He knew that he was better than Drew Henson, but he brought this kid in and he felt he had to
You're
play
giving
him.
Lloyd Carr way more credit than I am. I think he was incompetent and didn't know what he had.
Well,
Yeah,
maybe,
well,
but
I mean,
but I
I-
think
But
he,
that's like something you don't learn until later.
Yeah.
Like, why did he lose 5 games as a starter? That's a
Yeah.
lot of games for Michigan to lose.
Yeah. Well, maybe what it was that he had a quarterback who physically didn't have the same measurables as Drew Henson, but was a killer, and he didn't really realize this
He
kid's
didn't-
actually a
he
killer.
didn't know it. I agree
can't
with
get
you.
past the kind of lack of physical stature, whatever you want to call it, coming out. What was it? Too slow.
The whole was greater
Jumping
than
in
the
the
sum of the parts with
Yeah,
Brady.
yeah.
I mean,
It's hard to identify, and
but like that, I remember when he was coming out, I was like, why did he lose 5 games as a starter? Well, come to find out, he probably wasn't the reason they lost 5 games. It was because they kept dicking around with it and putting Drew Henson in, and
yeah.
that was
they
probably
just
hurting the team.
got the team
Right.
behind him. It might have.
Yeah. But again, those are things that you don't necessarily understand if you're not invested in the team. I'm sure like people that were following Michigan football closely knew, hey, this guy's better than Henson. You know,
Right.
why does he keep taking him out?
Yep. Good stuff. Everyone's got an opinion, especially our listeners. Travis in West Virginia has one about the newsletter.
Uh-oh.
He says, I don't think the email of the week should be a 500-word essay, but it typically is. It should be concise and pithy. So, well, I'm the one that picks those usually, so my fault.
Why is it your fault?
Push back,
Because I picked the ones that.
Why don't you argue?
No, I usually pick ones that
Let me show you how it's done.
people put thought into. But I could pick ones that are more concise and pithy.
I love pithy.
Well, the concise and pithy ones generally get read on the air too.
Yeah, right.
But that's okay.
Well,
They can be emailed.
But you picked the one, Fred, the really nice story about Paul, like with the guy who
Yeah,
met
that
you
was a
in
nice
the
long one.
Hall of Fame, or not the Hall, the Pro Football.
The pro shop.
The pro shop.
Which I still tell
Also
you, I
on
have no
Tuesday's show,
recollection of.
Eldred called in stating that he'd been broken on the side of the road for a couple hours, and you guys offered no sympathy whatsoever. He's right. We kind of glossed over that, right?
No, we were entertaining him during his
Like,
time.
No
of need.
recollection of that either.
I should have been like, can I call AAA for you?
Imagine we call AAA on air for him.
Oh,
No, that's kind of. He's right. We kind of glossed over that. It's like, oh, okay, you're stuck. What else?
I really need help.
Eldred, I hope you're okay.
I will say I really like the newsletters a lot. Like I look forward to them, especially
great.
like the cartoons when Alex includes those. Like
Yeah.
the Evan one is like 10 out of 10. I
That
wanna
Evan
print it
and
out
Jess
put
one
it at
was
my desk.
hilarious.
So good.
It's good stuff. And if
Just
you
didn't
want to
care
get
for
the
it.
newsletter, all you have to do is go to patriots.com/PU newsletter and sign up. Also, if you haven't signed up yet, but you've been getting it, you're going to get an email in your box probably tomorrow or Monday saying you haven't signed up yet. And so there'll be a link to make sure that you do, because we have probably about 20% of the people on our list have actually signed up, but we're still sending everybody. But if you want to keep getting it, you got to officially sign up.
I had to officially sign up because I wasn't getting it.
Yeah.
I get it on my personal and my work email.
Wow.
Oh.
Whoa.
I hope you're opening
Whoa.
on both of them.
Hoi
I do.
polloi.
I need
do.
you clicking those links.
I do.
Is there an algorithm
Need a
and,
good
and slash
open link.
engagement slash data for these
Yeah.
as well?
You mean like what are they
Yeah.
reading within
Uh-huh.
it? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Let's
Yeah.
Get that
It's called
report.
a heat map.
Yeah. Kristen, get that report
Yeah.
going on the
Yeah,
newsletter.
the
Yep.
newsletter, yeah.
Yep.
She's listening, I'm sure.
All right. 855-PATS-500 is the TPX hotline. Podcast@patriots.com is the email address. Let's hit up the phones, see what people are saying. I'm sure there's topics we haven't touched on yet that you want to talk about. And if you do, now's the time to bring them up. Cole's in Minnesota. What's up, Cole? Are you cold in Minnesota?
Hey guys, good morning.
Hey.
Just wanted to pick your brain, get your opinion on a little bit of the draft. I was curious if in your guys' eyes, if there is something that this organization or this new regime here could do that could be a complete blunder in the draft. Obviously, for us, we have so many needs, it's hard to imagine they could screw it up, but I know it's possible. Like, if they were to go out and just heavily invest in young talent on the defense, would you guys see that at the end of the draft as a misstep by the organization? And then one other question I did have was about Kendrick Bourne. I don't really see it. I guess I've been watching him since he was coming back, and I guess I don't get it. Like, he's been benched twice by two different coaches on our team. Always seems to be in the wrong headspace, and I know Mike pointed it out a couple weeks back about how he's one of those my bad. Those kind of guys. So I'm curious, like, when are we going to stop, defending this guy? Is it just because of as far as the talent goes, he's really the only athletic, talented guy we have? And I'll leave that.
Okay. Thanks, Cole.
Well, Tamara, you had a thing with what was it? Chad Graff, I think, speculating that.
Yeah, there was a report in The Athletic predicting that Kendrick Bourne would be released this offseason. And I was talking to Deuce about it. I was like, do you think that that's possible? And I know he didn't perform that well coming off of his ACL. Like, I think he had, one good game coming off of the ACL. So I get it if you want to move on from him and pursue maybe just focusing on Kayshon Boutte and Demario Douglas. And I'm blanking on someone else's name right now. Oh, not Pop. Polk. I get it if you just want to focus on those three and maybe draft another one. But I just don't see you moving on.
I
from
think
Kendrick.
everyone's on the table. I
think so?
really do.
I do
Yeah,
too.
I really
Especially
do.
because he's worked with Josh before.
Yeah.
I'm like, I feel like Josh would want to keep him.
Well,
that's
maybe,
something to
but
think
I
about.
think everyone's on the table to be a cut or to stay, depending on what they do in the draft and free agency. They need to upgrade that room.
They do.
They need better wide
Absolutely.
receivers, and they need as many as they can get. The question is, how many can they get? And it'll be a numbers game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me know after free agency.
Right.
Yeah.
You know.
I hope there's a lot of competition and stuff to push all those guys. And I mean, it'll be like last year. I think last year we were sitting at the same point being like, well, they got all these guys. Bring in more and let competition figure it out and hope that you actually get guys that can really push the envelope, be on point, know what they're doing always. And in the big moments, they come through with the clutch plays.
I do want you to bring in more, but I want them to be really good wide receivers, not just like that wide receiver one and then more wide receiver 6, 7s. I want more 1s and 2s,
like a professional
or 1 and
veteran.
1Bs, as Matt Smith would say. He's a 1B.
Well,
Why can't we get
talked about
I think we're all on the same page. We need high end.
I mean, we talk about someone like Chris Godwin. I know, Paul wasn't really interested in him because he's coming off an injury, but if you could wrap your head around that one of just a guy who you feel like when he would get out there, you would feel pretty good about him.
Higgins
being
and Godwin?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that's the big.
And
that's
then
the big
draft
swing.
one in the second or third round.
Thank
Then I
you.
would tell all of the guys that are on the current roster and say,
Good luck.
thanks for your service.
What-
That's how you overturn your room.
Yeah.
Could
Now,
you
that's
get someone like
unlikely.
Devontae Adams? Since he technically is like not
I
under
look,
contract.
People were saying that
I
why
think-
would he want to come here with Josh?
I
but-
think everything should be in
But,
play,
like-
though.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
why that particular one probably wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Because he hated him.
Yeah.
But
Or T. Higgins and Brown, AJ Brown.
Don't just. You're
Could that
getting
happen?
me
I know,
excited.
I know.
and you
Is
keep
that
bringing it
possible? Can we afford that?
up. Yeah.
well, you could
You
afford
can
it,
do
absolutely.
You can do it.
Could do a show
Yeah.
like Brown on Brown with you
You
and
can do it.
AJ.
But that's the kind of I think
Manifest.
everything that you could possibly come up with should be in play.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is it realistic? Probably not. But if you can do that, I made the comment. We talked about this a lot on the show. There are a lot of guys that are under contract. Forget about like Wise and Jones and those guys that are going to be free agents.
Yeah.
There are a lot of guys under contract, some of which just signed a contract, like within the year, that are not going to be back.
Yeah.
I don't know who they are. Kendrick Bourne is certainly on that list.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of those guys they can afford to let go, but my guess is Mike Vrabel wants to overturn that roster as much as he can and find
His guys.
those mid-level kind of free agents that can come in and play right away.
He wants
Is-
Mike
is Ja-
Vrabel.
Is Jacoby Myers a free agent? Can we steal him
I
back?
think that's
He's not.
next year. But two guys I would just consider Jelani Tavai and Anthony Jennings, who I kind of like, and I do think that like as a on the line,
complimentary
big,
role.
strong linebacker, strong side linebacker, he could probably.
But I
fit
really
in this
think
other
it's
defense.
everybody. Like
But-
it's Duggar. It's the guys that Mike just said. It's Bourne. It's Owenu. Like
Peppers.
Peppers. They're not all going to go. I'm not suggesting that Mike
Except for
Vrabel's going to
Barmore.
cut like 10 guys.
Barmore and Owenu, I probably
Okay.
would say.
Yeah, well, if they want to go to, depending on what they want to do for for the style up front, like
Yeah.
that could impact Owenu.
Sure.
Sure.
Hey, Eldred's listening. What's up, Eldred? Eldred.
Hey, fellas.
You still
Are
on
you
the road
okay
side
on
of
the
the
side
road?
of the road, Eldred? I've been worried sick.
Yeah.
I heard you coming. No, you wouldn't.
Paul's gonna come change your tire.
So, but it's a good question. So when you see like a semi on the side of the road broken down, what's usually the problem? What's usually happening there?
It could be a bunch of things. One, flat tire. Two, like yesterday, my brake lines, my air brake, had a little cut in it some kind of way, and
somebody
Sounds
cut your
suspicious.
brakes.
we let the transmission. We let the transmission change.
Okay.
Airlines, yeah, it goes to transmission box. Run on air and stuff, just about.
Okay.
So they had to get it fixed. But the bad part is it takes them 2 hours to get their butt over here. It takes them an hour to fix it. So you're running out of time and everything else.
So they're able to fix it right there on the road?
Yeah.
Okay.
If they don't, they'll tell you.
I know. That's a whole thing. Yeah.
Eldred, I just have one question for you. Can I ask you one more question? Have you ever seen Over the Top? And is there a subculture of arm wrestling in the truck driving community?
I've never seen it. I've been at a bunch of truck stops or whatever, or when you're sitting and resting or at the rest area. I've never seen it.
No.
I heard about it, but I never seen it.
No, it's pretty good. If you go over the top, when your arm, you'll win every time. Just
Are the
tip.
truck stops as seedy as they make them out to be with everything going on?
Not all of them, but they used to be when I was over the road. Some
Yeah.
of them,
You know.
like when they
I
were
know
talking
what
about-
you're talking about. It's inappropriate.
We're trying to get
Yep,
some
inappropriate.
insight here.
Yeah, all depends on what state. But you'd be surprised what state did that though.
Yeah.
And it was like common.
Which
I
ones?
throw 2 out. Texas, San Antonio, Houston, Tennessee,
And like the
California.
are the certain truck stops like on everyone's map, like ooh, the truck stop in San Antonio on exit 3. Ooh, that one.
The whole.
Yeah. Is there like an app that you can
not
find
really.
these? Yeah.
No, not really. Sometimes they just pop up.
Yeah.
Sometimes they don't.
Okay.
Then, be like everybody else, we'll call it because I don't want to be on the 6 o'clock news like everybody else where you going to jail in the truck going to impound lot.
Yeah.
And your company got to take care of. So, nah.
That's true. So what do you got football wise?
Football-wise, y'all heard that rumor about Milton might be traded to the Raiders if Pete Carroll want him?
Milton might be traded. Well, who started this rumor? Somebody with 2 followers on X?
Nope, it's on the news feed. One of the news feed, the sports thing. They come up about the Panthers, Patriots, all the other teams, Rams, Seattle, who might go. And then Seattle, they tell me, I want Metcalf bad. But he said something about
You're not coming. You don't like it here.
Not a desired order
ridiculous.
you want to come to.
I heard that.
So I'm like, well, damn, that's that.
Well,
That's
he might be
that.
saying that,
I
and
want
then you offer him a bag, and it's like all of a sudden I like Massachusetts. Yeah.
Yeah, he might be, but I'm looking at that. But and the other thing is, I'm waiting on the wide receiver coach. That's who I'm waiting to do.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, waiting on that one. But
Okay.
other than that, that's it. But Paul, Brady, and Henson, he was a 2-star plus he was a 2-sport athlete, baseball and football.
Yep.
And that what gave him preference over Tom Brady. And Carr did regret that decision.
Yeah.
Every time Brady got in there, Brady won.
Yep.
He had the killer instinct.
Yep.
Yep. Well, that's it. Y'all have
All right,
Absolutely.
Aldred. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Aldred.
Thanks for
Big
calling.
E.
I felt like we.
Brady was a two-sport athlete too.
Yeah, baseball.
Yeah.
Expos, right?
Yeah, but he
Montreal
wasn't a
Expos.
pitcher.
Yeah, he was. Drew Henson came to Michigan as a very highly
Oh,
decorated
I know, and I
recruit. It
think
wasn't
that
because he was a 2-sport guy.
But I think that clouded Lloyd
Yes.
Carr's
Well, it also
judgment.
caused all kinds of pressure because he had pressure to play him.
I agree. All right, we're going to take a break. My food's here. When we come back, more calls and emails. No picks today, though, right? So we don't have to hurry. We have
No.
all day.
But Fred, real quick, I just said to Paul, maybe we do some prop bets next week for the Super Bowl. Like do certain, not
Oh,
just the
do you
pick the
have any?
game, but we're putting some together.
Okay.
Like how many blatant
For
Chiefs
ne- for
calls
next
go
week
their
when we
way.
do the
Oh,
picks.
for next week.
Those kind of things.
Okay.
For you, Father.
For you next
All
week.
right.
Gatorade
All right. We'll be
color.
right back.
Some of the content of Patriots
Isn't it time to get exactly what you want? Welcome to Red Hot Deal Days from Verizon, where you get your pick of our best deals. Like My Plan, where you can pick the perks you want and save on every one. For limited time, bring your own phones to a Verizon store and you can get My Plan for our best price ever. Get exactly what you want in your phone plan and only pay for what you need. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today and get My Plan. These deals won't last. It's your Verizon.
With FedEx One Rate, you can ship to your student for a simple, predictable flat rate. Send a box full of home-baked treats that say, "Your father and I miss you." Or send a box full of instant noodles that says, "Your father and I would like you to stop asking us for money." Either way, one rate fits all. FedEx One Rate. 2-day shipping, one flat rate. Starting at $14.50. Visit FedEx.com/OneRate for details. Exclusions apply.
It's time now for another edition of Pats from the Past podcast. Matt Smith, Paul Perillo, and pleased to be joined by former Patriot quarterback Brian Hoyer. Brian, thanks for coming by, man.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Yeah.
We asked this of everybody, so I think people who are football fans, Patriot fans know, is Brian going to play? Is Brian not going to play? What's going on with Brian Hoyer these days?
I mean, I don't know. I think it would take a great opportunity to come along for me to do that. Obviously, I was in Las Vegas last year. I know I can still play because I beat the Patriots last year. One of the most
touché.
One of the most
That's on my list, Brian.
One of the
That's on
most
my list.
bittersweet moments of my career. So we'll talk about that later. But so I know I can still physically do it. But at 38 years old, my kids are getting older. I think it would take a really great opportunity for me, to come along for me to kind of look and see. But so I know I can still do it. Body feels relatively healthy, and so we'll see. It's always open. People always say, if someone's offering you an opportunity to play and you feel like you could do it, I remember a former teammate saying, "Play till they tell you you can't." So definitely capable of it. It's just got to be, I think, the right opportunity at this point.
You know, idiots like us sit there and, he can play or it's time to go and everything like that. But I don't think the lay people realize what's it like to make that decision as a family.
Yeah.
When you have a wife who's supported you cross-country trips, taking kids back and forth, at some point in time, her decision or her opinion, while always valued, you got to really listen to. That's got to be hard, like as a family standpoint. Like, at what point in time do I need to devote my time to them?
Right, and that's a huge part of the decision making. So that's why I say like it'd have to be the right opportunity and all those things because, deciding to go to play in Las Vegas last year, it was not an easy choice. It was an easy choice because it was Josh and my relationship with him, but it wasn't an easy choice in the regards of what does this mean for my family? And thankfully, we had a great school here that allowed our kids to kind of virtual school with the help of a tutor out there. But it was rough. It was a rough transition, and they were all happy to come back once the season was over. And so now my son, he's going into 7th grade. He got accepted as a Zavarian brother. So, those are all things that you have to take into account. Like I want to watch him play football. Of
course,
he's watched me play for a long time. So maybe it's time, for a role reversal.
That's great.
When you came out of Michigan State, I mean, you didn't get drafted.
Yep.
And I don't know what your expectations were heading in, but to then have a 15-year career off of that. What were your expectations sort of when you arrived here in 2009? What were you hoping for?
I was just talking about this with my son the other day, and I said, listen, when I didn't get drafted, I kind of thought, okay, the Patriots are going to sign me. I'll learn from Tom Brady. Obviously, I watched Bill coach in Cleveland, so I always kind of had an affinity to him, and obviously him being a great coach, I thought it was a great opportunity to go learn, and I thought, maybe I'll make the practice squad. If I get released, at least I'll learn from these guys, and then sure enough, I kind of worked my way up the ranks and ended up being Tom's backup my rookie year, and, the things that I learned in those first 4 years were so invaluable to me that when I finally got some opportunities to play, you put those in motion and then you just keep stacking years. And the thing about the quarterback position is if you're relatively competent and you're a good guy and you make some connections, you just extend your career. That's, when I look at last year, if Josh isn't the head coach in Las Vegas last year, then, maybe my career ends there. But luckily for me, I've met a lot of great coaches, played with a lot of great players, and made a lot of great connections, which allowed me to do that.
That's a little bit unorthodox, Brian. As a rookie, now you're backing up Brady, who, by the way, is coming off a knee surgery at that point in time. And you're the only backup quarterback your rookie year. That was the same way in 2010. You're the only backup quarterback. Like, not a lot of teams did that. What was your thought process in that? Like, you want to talk about literally next man up and you're one pitch away.
Yeah.
You're one pitch away at that point in time.
I think I was too naive to even understand that at that point. Now looking back, when you realize like Tom's coming off a major knee reconstruction, had, some hiccups along the way, man, if I had to play that year, I don't know how ready I would have been. Obviously, Bill believed in me and Bill O'Brien believed in me. And so I'm sure it would have, worked itself out. We had a really good team, so I think I would have relied on those guys around me. But, at that point, I was just thrilled to be an NFL football player, and now I'm going to a meeting room every day with Tom Brady and soaking up what I can learn from him. And then, that went for 4 years, and then until I got released in 2012. So, those years, like, those are kind of like, the years you're building your foundation of your career, and I couldn't have done it in a better place.
So I wanted to ask you a little bit about that rookie season. You were part of some really good teams, and ultimately you were part of a champion in 18. But you had that great year in 2010. 2011, you go to the Super Bowl. In 2009, you probably didn't recognize it at the time. It's your rookie year.
Yeah.
But do you kind of look back and say that there was a little bit of something amiss in 2009? That's sort of the way it's kind of viewed here. That was kind of a reset year. And we're very spoiled because we've been part of a lot of good.
Well, I didn't know any better.
So
I'm from Cleveland,
10-6 going to the playoffs and all that stuff is not.
I thought
really
it was great.
I'm
like, man, I'm on a great team.
But did you sense any like sort of dysfunction at the time, or maybe looking back at it, do you feel like that wasn't the same as some of the better teams that you were on?
Definitely wasn't the same. I think looking back now, knowing what I know and being on some great teams, it wasn't there was definitely some learning curve. There was some adjusting to new. I mean, that was Bill O'Brien's first year as a coordinator here. So now I know how important that is, being a quarterback when you're learning, even if you're keeping somewhat of the system intact, you're working with someone new. And that was, so those were kind of, I guess you call growing pains. But I thought, like, man, we're going to the playoffs. Like, I'm on the Patriots. This is like a Super Bowl organization. Like, okay, 1 year, we didn't win the Super Bowl, but I'm like, oh, we'll win it next year. I mean, I think that's kind of the expectation you have when you come into that organization. And I've always said this. I've always looked at it when Tom Brady was the quarterback. I never went into a game thinking we're not going to win, ever. There was never, and
Neither did we.
I've been on other teams, whether I was the quarterback or someone else is the quarterback, and I'm like, man, I don't know how much of a chance we have this Sunday. And I can honestly say every game that I ever played here, backing Tom up, that there was I never had that feeling, and obviously a lot of other players around that. But when I talk to a lot of my old teammates, I think that feeling was very similar.
Yeah, I bring it up because it's, again, that's why I preface it by saying we're spoiled. When that's considered a quote unquote down year,
right?
But Bill infamously said on that documentary, "I just can't get these guys to play the way
I was playing in that game
at the time." Tom was standing next to him, and you're out there.
We got crushed by New Orleans. And I remember thinking to myself, like, "Wow, I'm playing in a Monday Night Football game." Okay, one bad game, we got crushed, but I'm playing in a Monday Night Football game. Sure. This is pretty cool. And you see that, and you realize, and then having been on a champion team and teams that went to Super Bowls, you realize, like, we probably didn't have a chance to go to the Super Bowl that year.
Right, and then you have that.
And now, great moments in history.
I had to stop at that Shell station down next to Luciano's on Route 1, Fred.
Yeah.
Filling up for gas, so I go in to pay the cashier, this woman who's been there forever.
You can pay at the pump, now.
I know. I like to go in and pay prepay. I like that
Why?
better.
Cash?
I just like it better.
Oh, come on.
Don't get me on it. Don't get me
Why
started on
would
that.
you do that?
Just
Cash?
Stop it.
Why do you like it better?
No, I get the credit card.
It's just $20 on, or fill it up.
No, I usually put in a certain amount.
You can do that at the pump.
I know you can. Jerry Seinfeld from the commercial that he did back in the day when he used to, remember he did that, and he'd pull the credit card.
Why
out.
would you apparently you don't all the way in there?
All the way. It's not like you're walking 15 miles to go to Phillips.
I can understand if you didn't have a credit card, all you had was cash.
Right, because then you got
that I can understand.
Anyway, so I go into the store.
This makes no sense.
Anyway, I go into the store.
This bothers me.
Well, stop it. Let me finish the story.
Why would you go in? Oh, it's just such a hassle.
It's not a hassle. You are the laziest person I've ever known.
They did this at the pump.
I'm walking 10 steps to walk into the door so I can pay for the cashier inside.
Why do you think they all have this? It's for our convenience.
Have you ever seen the signs on there that a lot of places say go inside and prepay before you pump? Yeah. A lot of places won't let you do that thing at the pump.
Where the hell do you live? In Arkansas?
That's another great moment from
never got to it. All right, back here on Patriots Unfiltered. 855-PATS-500 is the TPX hotline. Podcast at patriots.com is the email address. Spee in Fresno writes in, as a previous emailer of the week, I love the shirt I never got. It fits perfectly when I'm naked. Matt's like, I don't know.
Poor wait. Can we go back?
We don't have shirts in people's sizes. We only have small sizes.
What, we have animal sizes? We don't have people sizes?
We don't have extra large. We don't have our fan sizes.
So we ran through the XLs.
We need to get more T-shirts.
Yeah, we need more extra larges.
Who's in charge of ordering T-shirts?
I don't know.
I need more
I don't know.
cowbell.
But can we go back to that commercial that just happened? The greatest moments from Patriots Unfiltered?
Yeah.
That pay before you pump, you can pay at the pump. You don't have to go inside.
Right.
What the heck?
You pay before if you only have cash.
Exactly.
Right.
And the only time, I could probably count on my hand how many times I've actually gone inside. I've only done that if some gas stations, there's one on Route 1 actually that offers you a discount if you pay in cash.
Yeah.
I never have cash, but sometimes I do, and then I will go inside to get the discount. Other than that, I'm always using my phone.
Of course.
How do you fill it up
I'm not
completely
going inside.
if you pay before?
Exactly.
And then you got to go back in and get your change?
Yes,
you're like, well, I got to just put $40 in or $50
No one has time.
This is what I had to
Eric,
put up with.
What are you doing?
This is what I had to put up with.
That's ridiculous.
Unless he's overly cautious about credit card scammers, because I've had a friend.
That it happened to me. Someone stole my card number from the pump.
That's why you never use a debit card.
But you weren't scarred. You still went back. You're like, oh, it happens.
Back. I just got a new card.
Right.
And I was like,
Eric
whatever.
was like, even the fear of it, he would just be like, nope, I'm not even risking it once.
But by the way, if you go in and pay with a credit card, they can do it there too.
Sure.
They have these things that go over the credit card machine that actually takes your stripe twice. So it can happen anywhere that you're giving your credit card.
So using credit card, I mean,
So
you just
the only way to
fraud
avoid
thing,
that
they
is
give
to
it-
use cash.
Yeah, I never have cash because I lose it.
Yeah,
I'll find it a
who
year
carries
later
cash?
in my pocket.
I miss having cash.
Anyway,
So
Spiegel.
it's funny that you say
water.
that. Who carries cash? I went in. I was hungry this morning, so full
this is
disclosure,
good. This is good.
I got
Actually,
myself an egg
apropos.
McMuffin. Fatty got himself an egg McMuffin this morning.
I had 2 yesterday.
So I was there, and I didn't have my newspaper hadn't arrived yet this morning.
What, the
So I'm saying-
whole morning is screwed up.
Thank you,
do his
Fred.
crossboard.
Thank you, Fred, for understanding.
Yeah.
You understood perfectly.
Yeah, so you-
I
so
said,
you
"Let me-
stole your neighbor's."
So let me get a newspaper. Well, right down the street, the McDonald's is
Yeah.
connected to the little,
Yeah. They have the
mini
convenience
mart
stores.
kind of
Yeah.
convenience store. So I get the newspaper, which, by the way, is $4
For those rags now.
for a globe.
Yeah.
That's criminal. Anyway,
They're about this wide now.
so I put the globe up, and I get my card out. And he's like, "Oh no, you can't pay for the newspaper with a credit card. It has to be cash only." And I'm like, "Oh." So I look at my wallet. Of course, I had $3 on me. So
Why would you
I'm
not
like,
be able to pay cash for a newspaper?
well,
Just
it
leave
gets
out-
better. It gets better.
Like, are they
leave out the
laundering? Is
lifestyle
the globe
section.
laundering
Just-
money?
So I said, okay, so what if I buy something else? Can I pay with the card then? Oh yeah. So I got a bottle of
Diet Pepsi?
Obviously.
big stunner here, a bottle of Diet Pepsi, and the newspaper. So for $6, I could use my card.
So was it a thing because
He
you
said
had?
it was because of the newspaper, but then he let me get the newspaper. So I don't know.
That's weird because
It wasn't like a minimum spend.
Yeah, some places
I-
say
I don't know.
under $10 we
Right.
don't accept
Yeah.
credit cards because of the fees.
fees.
It could also be the distributor of the newspaper. Maybe they have to pay them in cash because you know those
Yeah,
guys.
I just thought it was
those
odd.
newspaper distributors are
But then
sometimes
he,
a little
then
shady.
he let
It's
me
upfront.
do it though.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what the
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is.
restriction
Anyway,
was.
Speed goes on. He says, "What are your
The
guys?"
Egg McMuffin was good though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Those slap.
And I paid with a card for that too.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
If you, what are your guys' food plans for the Super Bowl? I always make 2 dishes themed after the team's playing. So this year it's smoked
Eagle.
ribs and cheesesteak
cheesesteak,
sandwiches.
yeah.
Don't know what I would have done for Washington, but would have liked to try Buffalo's beef on weck. It's thinly sliced roast beef on Kummel weck roll,
Yes, I know
which
what
is a
it is.
type of Kaiser roll topped with a coarse salt and
Kaiser
caraway seeds, served with horseradish and au jus for dipping.
I love horseradish.
But damn, I miss the days when the clam chowder flowed
Ha.
like wine. Yeah, I know. I hear what you're saying.
So that's a good question. What are you guys planning on?
Well,
I haven't planned yet.
food.
My earlier in the day, I'm going to ref 3 girls hockey games.
Oh, I knew there had to be something like
Right,
that going on.
three games, and I'm going to work up a really good appetite. But I don't know yet. It's a great question. I like what he's saying though. I love the thought of
from you?
beef and horseradish. Like that's appealing to me.
Beef
right
on
now.
weck is good. It's a little salty.
No,
but it's
the
good.
bread is much too salty for
Yeah.
my taste. Yeah.
I will be in New Orleans, so I have absolutely no idea.
Tamara will be down there.
Oh, that's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
You're working.
Yep.
No
Sorry.
idea.
Sorry.
I gotta see what's
Crawfish,
on
jambalaya.
Gumbo.
I'm looking
I
forward to
used
the
to do
food.
jambalaya a lot.
Fried
for,
alligator?
I do a good jambalaya.
Not that.
Oh, it's so good.
No, I
Have you
can't do
eaten
it.
it?
Po'
Good.
boy,
Hell
I
yeah.
can't do it.
I'll try anything twice.
L-
Wow.
Like people who have, like, even in Florida, they have
Fried
like,
alligator tastes
frog
like
legs
chicken.
and things
Yeah.
on the menu. I'm like, I can't do it. I have to stick to the
It
chicken
all
and
tastes
the
like
beef.
chicken.
Tastes
I
like
agree.
chicken.
What's the weirdest
don't
thing
know
you've ever
about
eaten then?
This is more of a cultural thing, but like octopus,
Yeah.
a lot of people think is pretty weird, but I think it's kind of normal.
See, I can't do the alligator, the frog legs.
Alligator's probably the weirdest thing I've had.
like, deer.
I've had
I-
both.
I don't think I can do
Newport
that.
jerky has kangaroo jerky that I've tried before. That might be weird too.
Kangaroo
We had a
Yeah.
listener named Matt who was a
Oh,
hunter.
yeah.
And before the show, he came. He's from Oregon, but he came here and set up a grill in the parking lot. This is not game day. This is like a Tuesday, and grilled elk.
Elk?
And
Elk
then,
is good.
And then
Sure.
brought it into the show for us to eat.
That sounds good. I'd eat that.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Yeah.
Then we got in trouble for having like open flames in the parking lot.
No, but
The security
we
people
wanted
were
to
mad
have
at
him
us.
do it in the kitchen, but they wouldn't. They don't allow people to bring in food from outside into the kitchen. I'm like, well, how does all the food get here?
Did he shoot?
Wasn't
the elk?
Matt Light like killing turkeys on
yeah.
property
Yeah.
and putting them in the fridge?
Yeah, yeah, duck.
So it's just who you
Yes.
are.
Yeah.
I'd say I listened to Matt Patricia on Edelman's podcast, and man, did he have some Matt Light stories. And I feel like I've heard some of them over the years, but he sounded like a pain in the ass. Like it sounded almost like, dude, just chill. Like why does everything have to be constant
Right.
pranks? And
Yeah.
I mean, like he talked about pranking Bill O'Brien, and he had like a app so that it came up as Robert Kraft calling Bill O'Brien, and they're watching Bill O'Brien like look at his phone and freak out and think that Robert's calling him and stuff. Like the guy was relentless.
They messed with Skarnecki as like mouse for a whole season too on his computer,
He
and
got
he'd call the
shot.
IT guys in. Like the IT guys were probably on the borderline of being fired.
Right.
Just because they were messing
I
with
think
him.
Matt Light was just bored.
Yeah.
You know?
I moderated a panel last year with, or maybe the season before, with Matt Light. And like within 2 minutes, I realized I am absolutely useless here. He's going to carry this whole thing.
Yeah, right.
And
So that means
Matt
it was
Light does
good.
not
That
need
means
a
you did a good job.
moderator.
You stayed out of the way. That
I
means
did.
you did a good
I
job.
did indeed.
Let him do his thing.
Patty's on the line. What's up, Patty?
What's up, guys? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. What do we got for a spread on a week from Sunday?
I'm taking the Eagles. That's what I'm taking. I'm not sure what the spread is, though.
I think food-wise you're
No, I
talking
meant
about,
food.
right? Yeah.
The spread. Could care less about your pick.
Holly. my wife's making her famous, her grandmother's old Italian meatballs.
Okay. Old Italian meatballs.
Yeah, her old style, her old country Italian meatballs.
The old country.
What meat's you using that? You got the veal in there? The
You got
beef?
gravy or sauce on those meatballs?
Gravy.
Got a little bit of gravy. No veal, though.
No.
I'm a little disappointed she doesn't use veal, but she uses
No.
ground pork and ground beef.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to ask you guys, I know one of you brought it up, but did any of you peruse the Daniel Jeremiah top 50 prospect list?
I did peruse it.
Yeah, Deuce was talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
Anything
It's
of
rolling
note
by
that you
right
wanna
now on our
bring out?
screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, one thing that stood out was, I mean, if Carter's not there at 4, which probably he's not going to be.
It's not going to happen. Give it up.
I'm sorry, Fred. If they test Will Campbell and think that he can play left tackle, I think that's got to be the pick because we got to protect the quarterback. Jeremiah wrote a great piece on him too. I think he had him as his number 8 prospect, but if you look at what he said, he said as far as the arm length goes, he doesn't think it's going to be a concern, and he's barring any health problems, this kid should play tackle for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
And really, out of this draft, more than anything, that's kind of what I'm looking for. And I just want to get your guys' thoughts on that.
Okay. Thanks, Patty.
Same thing,
Listen,
I mean,
if that's what they believe,
Yeah.
that he can play tackle for the next, it's not a bad pick.
I think there's
I'm not gonna
confidence
go,
that those guys think he can play tackle.
Yeah.
But him playing the next 10 years is not the same as playing well.
Yeah.
Eric Fisher played for 10 years. I need better than that.
Yeah. But listen, if he was Matt Light good, would that be good enough?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just think you can't. Let me just go back. I feel like I heard Jerry Madelon in my head. I have to
Nobody
take back
knows
the,
who he is.
I think
You gotta tell people
our
who Jerry
talent coach,
Madelon is.
manager,
I
just
believe.
making all of us better. I believe that when you look at the past 4 years, especially since I've been here, the draft classes have been so bad for the Patriots, minus a few people like Christian Gonzalez, Marcus Jones, etc. But I think you can't afford to go into this draft saying if you play this person at tackle, he could work out to be great. You have to go in there and be confident about the person you're picking.
Yeah.
You cannot afford to go into this draft and do the same thing you've done the past 4 years and go off a whim and pick someone and hope it works out. You got to be really confident this person is going to be a star player for you for the next 4 years plus.
Yeah, and I think, I forget who wrote it. I think it was Evan recently, but it seems to be that Belichick's style of drafting leaned toward need rather than best player, and that a lot of it was fitting a certain thing that we wanted to see at that position.
Yeah.
I still don't see how Cole Strange fit into that.
Right,
what you
and
just
you're
said.
taking a big risk in the NFL because now you're taking a guy to do a certain thing from college into the NFL, and it's not always translatable.
So you told me that at that time Cole Strange was fit your need, was the best player on the board that fit your need?
That's what they thought.
Left guard.
Oh my
That's
God.
what they thought.
So I think that I would push back on that. I don't agree with that at all. I think all teams pick for need, and I think that there's a difference between making a bad pick.
No, but there's a
and
difference between
doing it for the wrong reasons.
Paul, there's a difference between we need a cornerback and we need a cornerback who does ABC.
Yes.
No, we just need a great quarterback, and I think. And look, this is what
so
people
those
say.
are two, that's what I said. Those are two different things.
Right,
Picking
right.
for need and picking for specific skill sets.
Right.
That's not the same thing.
Right.
Like they needed a guard that year. They picked the wrong guy.
Right.
And I would argue that in general, you don't take guards in the first round. Now, you could make an argument that Indianapolis, they took Quentin Nelson.
Osiris Torrance.
Been a really good guard in the first round.
Bills.
That's
Mhm.
fine.
He was a first
okay.
rounder.
I wouldn't take a guard in the first round. A guy that you know is going to be a guard. Now, Logan Mankins was a tackle coming out. It's also a little bit different. He was the 32nd pick. And he ended up playing guard at an all-pro level, and that's a great pick. I think that teams, like, if you just stay to your board, you're going to end up with guys that you don't need. Like, if you just want to stay with your board all the time, you don't want to reach to fill a need. That's different than picking for need. You know, Bill Belichick, I think, had a tremendous amount of success drafting for 10, 12 years, taking guys like Ty Warren, you know, in the first round. I mean, all those first-round picks, year after year after year, nailed every single one of them. A lot of those picks were for need. They couldn't stop the run in 2002. They went out and got Ty Warren in the first round. He probably wasn't the highest guy on the board at the time, but he was an excellent fit for what they needed, and he worked out really, really well.
Yeah.
You know, so like you can pick for need and get it right.
But it's easy to do that when you have good players and then you're just filling holes.
Well, that's why right now I wouldn't say, you know, I think Tamara earlier in the show you were talking about, so you guys think defense in the first round as opposed to offense. Not necessarily. I'm just trying to figure out who the best player is. And I think Abdul Carter might be the best player in the draft, period. So if he were there at 4, I'd have a hard time, you know, passing him up so I could take Will Campbell, who I don't think is anywhere near as talented as Abdul Carter.
Right.
I need both of those spots.
Right. That's where drafting for need hurts you.
Right.
Or even compare him to Mason Graham, where it's, you know, you might have a really good defensive tackle who's, I mean, like not atop the needs list, or do you get a serviceable
We
left
need some
tackle,
sure things.
you know?
Yeah, and I want to say, like, make sure people hear me loud and clear. I'm like, oh my God, you don't think that these players are good that we drafted? Drake May, excellent pick, obviously. Marcus Jones, I love what he brings to his team, a lot of versatility. Like, there's Pop Douglas, like, but
we all know the 4 people.
Yes,
they're the outliers.
I just want to say, like,
I only got 2.
I just want to say there have been
Drake May, Christian Gonzalez.
Christian Gonzalez, excellent pick. So I want to say that, like, I'm not saying that those were bad picks. It's just I cannot get the thought out of my head from my first year here at the draft party. When we drafted Cole Strange, you could hear a pin drop in the room.
That was a bad pick.
That was
a bad pick
another team
all around.
were on TV laughing at us.
And it's not because of Cole Strange that it was a bad. It was just doesn't make sense
Wrong
to
spot.
take a guard. First of all, you took a guard. He wasn't anywhere near the top guy on the board. He wasn't even the top guard on the board at the time. And you just overdrafted the position as well. That pick, I think, is sort of how people now define Bill Belichick's drafting strategy. And I don't think that's fair. I think your other part that you said, like N'Keal Harry was an end of the first round, top of the second round prospect that year. He got taken where everybody thought he would get taken. Where I think that Bill kind of looks at is what you said, like, is he a wide receiver who can play on all 4 downs? Will he block?
Right.
You know, is he versatile to play inside, outside? Like, no, just if you wanted to take a wide receiver there, take the best one.
Right.
That's A.J. Brown, right? Like, and then A.J. Brown goes however many picks later.
Well,
like,
but if you
know.
think that DK Metcalf is better than N'Keal Harry, you're an idiot, as Mike Lombardi famously told me.
Kyle and Pembroke,
And
last
everybody
night,
else.
Felger and Maz decided to criticize Evan for the repeated use of Coach Vrabel in his article. F both of them, especially Felger. Mr. Why Isn't May at Vrabel's press conference, the wine bag. Evan is a great reporter and a great writer. Also, Catch-22 and PU are better than Felger and Maz any day. You hear that?
Yeah.
Now that I'm done ranting,
So should
thank
we
you.
get compensated in a similar way, since we're better than them?
I think we should.
Can you look into that?
You just clip out that email and put it in your newsletter.
He already is.
Catch-22 and PU are better than.
It's too
long.
What is the greater than sign, right? Isn't that how you do it?
Now that I'm done ranting, thank you guys for all you've done. What would you guys think of the Patriots going after Khalil Mack for a 1 or a 2 year deal?
Sure. I think they need that
I don't hate it.
position. I don't hate it. You know, that's one spot. I feel the same way about wide receiver. I won't kick anyone out of bed. Like,
All right.
him, I mean, you're going to need somebody rushing off the edge with some speed. And I mean, maybe he's, I think he had a good year this year, didn't he? He was okay. So yeah, I mean,
good game against the Patriots, but then again,
Norm in Daytona Beach. I agree with Fred.
Me too.
Josh is no dummy.
I'm
guessing he's going to create his offensive game plan to the strengths of Drake and whatever weapons they add this offseason. Do you guys and ladies think he's coaching for his NFL life, considering he wasn't coaching last year, and after 2 failed head coaching jobs, it didn't seem like he was highly pursued during his years during the coordinator hiring cycle, or is it we just didn't hear about any interviews that he had?
I don't know. I mean,
I
there's
think
also
this will be his last job.
Did they just? Yeah. I mean, I agree with what Paul said. But was it already kind of wink, wink, nod, nod? Everybody knows he's going there. I think there were reports connecting him to here for a while. I also just bring up that they interviewed, I guess, Eric Bieniemy came out a little bit later to add him to the mix.
Yeah, I would let me clarify. Like, I think that he'll be an offensive coordinator. Like, if let's say he coaches Drake May for the next 8 or 10 years and is very successful with that, and then whatever the coaching staff, he I think would be in line to get more offensive coordinator work.
Yeah.
Whether it's here, continuing here, or go to someone else's thing. But I don't think he'll ever be a head coach again.
Tough.
Do you think that maybe if he didn't get any other offensive coordinator interviews anywhere else, that it's because people wanted to see more from him first? Like maybe they thought, okay, maybe he is kind of in a box in what he can do. Like he really can do this, but we don't know if he can do this. Do you think that's why?
Yeah, I think that he could prove that he is not just reliant on Belichick and Brady.
Yeah. Yep.
If he has a lot of success right now, with Vrabel and Drake May.
Zach in Pennsylvania, this email is specifically for Mike and Paul. Yeah. Really looking forward to the upcoming podcast on the 04 Patriots, personally my favorite Patriots team of the Dynasty 1.0 era, since they beat the Eagles. However, while he's here, please, 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 in caps, do not squander your opportunity Friday to finally thank Matt Patricia for everything he did for us in 2022. Fred, please use your influence as the boss if push comes to shove.
Good.
I would say I really enjoyed him on Edelman's, and more so just for my own private nerddom. Because when I was blogging, you guys all know, I really like the defensive side of the ball. And a lot of when Matt Patricia was coaching here, I was, we talked a lot about nickel being the new base. And these were arguments that we would get in. And people would, it was a 3-4 or 4-3. And it would be like, it's not that anymore. And so Matt Patricia and a couple parts of that podcast just kind of rattle through, 08, 09, 10, 11, like the evolution of the defense schematically, which to me, and this is maybe more a me thing, but I found it kind of validating. Some of the things he said, I was like, that's what I was seeing.
That's what I see.
And the Aqib Talib thing we've mentioned on the air. Once they got him, it felt like we're going man defense now, and it was that just to me that was, and he's crazy.
It's another one that we were ahead of the curve. Fred,
Talib.
remember when they lost to Asante Samuel, and Paul, Andy, and Fred said they need a number 1 corner.
Yeah.
How many years in a row?
Yeah.
At least 5.
They got to replace that corner. They got to
8,
replace
9,
that corner.
10, 11.
Well, Matt Patricia
and then
was
halfway
telling you
through
the
12.
same stuff that we were complaining about all that time.
It wasn't until maybe 14 that they
I
finally.
think it was 12.
Yeah, it was 12 when they got to leave, and then they went
It
into
went from like
Revis,
08 to
and
12.
then,
And then they've
Butler,
had the guy since, Gilmore.
Yeah, Gilmore. But, it's crazy how prepared Matt Patricia was, and just the detailed files that he keeps. And, I know people call him a rocket scientist, but just he's obsessive about these things. And he was talking a little bit now about how he's using AI to start to evolve his, how he covers the team. So I don't know, took a year off. I'm excited to talk to him tomorrow. And it was really interesting listening to him on the podcast before. I felt really, prepared to talk to him tomorrow with a good background. So it'll be good. Try to get the most I can out of him. I don't know if I'll apologize for Fred or not, but we'll probably, I think I'm under orders 2004 only.
Let's go to the TPX hotline. Christian's in LA. What's up, Christian?
Hey, you guys. Good morning to you, or good afternoon, as it is over there. So it seems like to me with this draft, we're probably not going to get a skill player until the 3rd round, right? Like maybe Abdul Carter, 1st round if he's there, or Will Campbell, and then vice versa.
Well, you're making an assumption that I don't know.
I have no idea.
I don't know if that's true or not.
I mean, from what I'm hearing, from what I'm reading, everyone's, the mock drafts are saying that we're probably going to take Carter or Campbell in that 1st and 2nd round. So it seems like we probably won't wind up with an offensive skill player until the 3rd round. I was looking at a
Well,
bunch
Carter
of
and Campbell are first-round picks.
They're
so now,
both going
what
to be
about
top
the second
10 picks.
Yeah.
So what about the
Yeah.
second round?
Yeah, you could take a wide receiver in the
And
second
I would,
round.
I mean, no, I'm not going to quibble, but I mean, I think edge
What I
rusher
mean
is
is
kind of a skill player. But
it's likely that we take an offensive lineman or defensive lineman first round, and then vice versa, an offensive lineman or defensive lineman second round, and then wait for the third round to get the skill position that we're trying to finally get. So that's just what it seems like. I'm not saying that it is. I don't have a crystal ball.
I'll
In
wait
that
and see what
third
they do in
round,
free agency.
Do you? Yeah. Yeah. Do you guys see anyone that particularly stands out that you think would slide that far that we might get our hands on? For example, the kid that's on USC, who's the running back from USC, he happens to be their number one receiver, both from the backfield and from their wide receivers. Does that give you guys Jahmyr Gibbs, like, feelings if a guy's the number one receiver on USC, but he's their running back? You think that might be someone that we should target?
Yeah. I mean, like if you're saying that he's slated for first and he could go to second, I still wouldn't pick him.
No.
Yeah.
No, they need receivers. I mean,
I mean,
he was the number one receiver on USC.
I know, but he's
USC stunk.
Yeah.
He's a running
They were
back.
a terrible team. They lost like 6 games.
Yeah. Well, that too. So,
I mean, wasn't Rhamondre Stevenson like the leading receiver for the Patriots a couple years ago?
Yeah.
Like, did he give you any Jahmyr Gibbs vibes?
No.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? He's not as fast, but he was multi-talented. So I do like Rhamondre.
Yeah. Listen, if you want to talk about this guy in the fourth round, okay, but
Well, that's what he's saying. Like down in the third or fourth round, when he thinks they're going to take their first skill
oh,
position
okay.
player.
Well, back then, back in the fourth, yeah, sure, why not? Yep.
But I don't get
Thanks, Christian.
Jahmyr Gibbs vibes just because a running back is
Yeah.
the team's leading receiver. Like Jahmyr Gibbs is an outstanding player.
Yeah.
I agree with Paul, though. You got to wait till free agency. Like, there's a lot of holes to be filled.
What if they sign
need
Ronnie
everything
Stanley
right now? Right.
in free agency
Right.
and sign T. Higgins as a wide receiver? Like,
Yeah.
they could. There's a lot of things that can happen in the months before the draft that will change everything that we're talking about.
Yeah.
That's just like
That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that they get 2 really good veteran wide receivers to add into the room versus like you have enough young guys in there already that are still developing. So I'm hoping that free agency would be the time when you get those skill players and maybe you can focus more on the draft on the defense.
Yeah, I mean, it's just funny because everybody just skips right over free agency. Like you just have like 2 guys. You're like T. Higgins, and that's free agency. That's the only guy in free
No.
agency. Like there's a lot of potential options and plenty that we're probably not even highlighting yet. But there's a lot of work to be done before you get to the draft and needs and projecting what they're going to do.
Kendall's in North Carolina. Hey, Kendall.
Hey guys, how you guys doing?
Good.
Yes, one question for you guys. Paul might be best for this one. I'm going to radio. I got credentials through my network for Super Bowl week next week, so I'll be down there in New Orleans next week, and I just want some advice with how to handle Radio Row down there. What goes on at Radio Row and just how to approach it. Thanks.
Oh wow!
So, but Kendall, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
So, you have credentials as a media member?
Yes, a media member.
Okay, so I'm taking it you don't have like a table set up. You're just going to be wandering around?
Well, the network that I'm a part, I think they do. I think they do have a table set up, but I think I'm going to be wandering around too.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, so...
Radio Row is quite a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's...
I'll be there.
I mean,
find Tamara.
There are radio stations from markets all over the country, and they're on the air all the time. I know that my shows will be there.
So I would imagine your station has already set up interviews, but what happens is all these people like, Joe Montana will come in, but he's sponsored by Skechers.
Yeah.
So Skechers is the reason he's there. Yeah. So they try to set up interviews with him with some of the bigger stations so that he can, get in his plug, and then they start talking football. But a lot of these guys have handlers, and they have schedules. So you have to be, if you're not at the table and you haven't already set up, you have to be aggressive. You have to get out there and try to drag them in or interview them, right where they're standing, waiting for something. You have to be aggressive. But you'll see guys, you'll see people like not just sports celebrities, but just celebrities in and out all day. And it really heats up like from Wednesday to Friday. It really heats up. Early Monday,
Mike,
Tuesday
why don't
is
you tell
nothing.
Kendall
Yeah.
what the experience is like at the Super Bowl?
Mike doesn't
was
have an
hurtful.
experience.
That was hurtful.
Yeah, but that's the way that you have to be aggressive. And later in the week, it really heats up. Saturday, I think it's dead, right?
Yeah.
Everybody.
Well, I think it's open Monday through Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, Monday through Friday, especially as the week goes on, it'll get busier. And Fred, I think, very accurately put it all together. There'll be all kinds of retired sports guys. There'll be, Hollywood type people around. Everybody has a handler. There's a lot of PR folk
Everyone's
around.
chilling for something.
Yeah, it's quite a scene. It's overwhelming.
I remember when we were in.
Y'all not going this year.
Huh?
I said y'all. None of y'all are going.
No, we're not going.
No, well, Tamara will be there, but she'll be working.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Kendall.
Good luck.
Remember when we were at the Mall of Minnesota? Stern had us set up.
I don't remember, Fred. I wasn't there.
Oh, that's right.
All I heard was everyone complain about it.
That was a good subtle left turn, though, with the head. I liked that. That was well done.
Yeah.
So calculated.
It was well done. I don't think it was calculated, but it worked.
So it's a lot of fun.
It is
Radio Row.
It is Radio Row, and
it's not really Radio Row anymore.
No,
it's a huge
Media Row.
It's a huge room.
I mean,
too.
they have like elaborate sets with everyone's got TV cameras now.
NFL Network and ESPN will have these huge, probably Fox Sports will have like these huge
Like the
podiums
Combine,
that are they'll have their area. And then everybody else is just like rows and rows of desks, and you have your setup, and you have your backdrops and whatnot, so everybody knows what station is what and what market you're in. That's when I come over and I appear and I'm on in the middle of my set, and all of a sudden Stephen A. Smith comes over, and it's like, Paul, we're gonna have to ask you to leave now. And I got a Paul. Good to meet you, brother. From Stephen A. Smith.
Oh, really? Now get out of my seat.
I was like, hey, he just said Paul.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
He knows me.
You're still beaming.
He didn't know
all
me.
these years later.
Friend of Stephen A.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
I would imagine in Orleans, Media Row's in the convention center. Is that right?
I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably where I would put it.
Oh, Mike.
All right. Who's this? Somebody named Nicolette on the line?
Oh, God.
Who's this? Hello?
Is it me?
I don't know. Is your name Nicolette?
Me?
Oh my God, it is Nicolette.
Perfect.
What? Nicolette used to work here.
Oh, well, you just blew
Hi,
a cover.
Nico.
I was actually hoping to be anonymous because I was going to call in asking the girlies what they thought about Taylor Swift's bangs.
Taylor Swift's bangs.
I am not allowed to have a comment about
Paul
Taylor
has
Swift's
a lot
bangs.
of takes on Taylor Swift lately. Are you sure you don't want to hear from him?
No, Fred, what do you think about Taylor Swift's bangs? Do you think she's a little too old to have bangs?
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
No, I mean,
I love bangs on a girl.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. Not even joking.
Is this something?
So
like,
Mike's your guy.
So wait a minute. The last time I saw Taylor Swift was during the last game, obviously. Did she have the bangs then?
Yeah.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
No, I didn't even notice.
Very
Like it
smart
just
hat.
looked like Taylor Swift to me.
There's that guy, Ozzy Trapillo.
You know?
Nico also has a take that she not only has bad bangs, but also bad outfits. Like she can't dress.
Oh, 100%. She dresses so horribly. You shouldn't be somebody who has that much money and walking into a stadium wearing what she wears.
I know, but like if she
True.
all of a sudden started dressing like SZA, or who is it?
SZA. Not to be
SZA.
confused with SZA. SZA.
Like
SZA.
Like that would that's but
I'm unwell.
but that's not her style. Like she should be true to herself, and I don't think she should go and start dressing like Beyonce.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Okay, I
is
love
that a thing?
Fred, that you're like loving the Swifties and on the Swiftie side, but as somebody who was talking crap about Taylor Swift in a video the other day, and then an earthquake happened, I know that there's some weird witchery magic going on,
Ooh.
and I'm just gonna say,
Witchery.
I don't think you should have bangs for longer than a year if you're above the age of 20.
Oh.
Okay, wait a minute. Who was
Nico,
the
is it
girl-
fixed?
No, who was the girl on the sitcom? Was this girl or She has
New
dark
girl.
hair. New
Oh,
girl.
yeah, yeah.
And
Oh,
she
Zoe.
always has
Yeah,
bangs.
Zoe
Zoe
Deschanel.
Deschanel.
And
Zoe
she's
Deschanel.
over 30,
I
right?
like her. I like those bangs.
She's delightful.
And that was kind of like her thing.
That's
like
Did
the
she have
bangs.
bangs
That's
in
true.
Elf too?
Yeah.
I think when
Yeah.
she did Elf.
No, I like
So
that
I don't know.
look.
I think it just depends.
Just pretty odd.
I just have to be
I think
prettier.
it's only because she's dating Travis Kelce and in the spotlight just so much that everyone has a hatred toward her right now. They're just
Nicolette, do
tired
you
of
think
seeing
it's
her.
fixed?
Knowing her is part of her next album that's coming out. You know?
It's going to be titled Bangs.
It's going to be titled Bangs. Yeah.
Is that a hair gel? Title bangs. I wear my bangs to the side. I wear my bangs with a hat. I wear my bangs
Right.
everywhere.
Wow.
Yeah. No, that's all I really had to say. I know.
Brought a lot to the table.
I'm glad you said it here.
Nico knows that
I
our
know.
off-season
All right,
shows
thanks,
are
Nico.
very different.
Yeah, ironically, the
Good to
show
hear
just
from Nico.
did its best numbers ever because we mentioned Taylor
Can
Swift.
I-
There's a million people.
No,
Well, the thing is, she
it
texts us
increased by
constantly.
300%.
She texts us
hold on.
constantly with actual
But
football
I,
tapes.
can I
Oh, we
just
got
have
an email?
Okay, go ahead.
Hold on.
You have an email on this
Ben,
topic?
Ben in Hershey, Pennsylvania writes in. He says, Paul, first, I give no credence to the tinfoil hat theory that the NFL is rigged or scripted in any way. That being said, your comments about the Swifties on Tuesday was grossly understating the financial impact that Taylor Swift has had on the NFL. A 2024 report by Apex Marketing Group found that Swift's association with the NFL and her relationship with Travis Kelce has generated approximately $331.5 million in brand value for both the Chiefs and the NFL. IDX, an independent digital communications and marketing company, reported that Swift's presence has contributed to an estimated increase of over 2 million female viewers. If every NFL franchise had a Taylor Swift, maybe the league could finally afford better instant replay technology.
Okay.
There's only one Taylor Swift.
So I'm well aware of these reports.
Yes.
There's a reason why I took the number 300 million as an example. I didn't just make that up. That's why. Because
Okay.
I read the reports too.
Yep.
I'm telling you, I don't believe them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't believe the numbers. I don't believe ratings. Fred will tell you this goes back 20 years. The ratings, the breathless press releases that we get that every game that's ever been competed broke the previous record for the biggest TV audience ever. It's impossible to have every single game break a record, but yet that's what the NFL will lead you to believe. Okay, streaming, Monday nights, Sunday nights, Wednesday afternoon, every game is more than the previous one.
Except for last week's AFC championships were down.
I don't believe the numbers, and I don't believe these quote-unquote independent reports.
Did you see the fans in our stands when we played the
The brand
Chiefs last
value
year?
numbers are a little bit, you
So
know.
how many more
see all the
people?
little
How many
girlies?
more people were at the game? Just out of curiosity.
I think it was one of our better
The answer is zero
ticket
because
sales days, and it was a lot of little girls
because
with signs.
the game was sold out, like every other game is sold out.
Have they been?
Oh yeah, no, every game is sold out. Now they don't all show up,
Mhm.
but the games are sold out.
I feel like we had a lot of girls at that
Since
game.
Robert Kraft has owned the team, every
Yeah.
game has been sold out.
Right.
That goes back to '94.
Yeah.
But
People
again,
physically in the stadium.
300
But
million.
they don't show up.
The girlies showed up that day
with signs.
That signs that said, "I'm only
And they all
here
wanted
for
to sit
Taylor's
underneath
boyfriend."
that specific suite. They all wanted to sit right below it.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So you want to
Okay.
be able to turn around and look
Yeah.
up.
So that's
Yeah.
what they wanted to do. So
Mm-hmm.
how many seats would you say are underneath the Taylor Swift suite?
Like 100?
Not 300 million, I'm
no,
going to guess.
like 100.
I'm going to guess it's not 300 million. I'm gonna
The
say it's a
numbers might
number
not be
less than
completely
that.
accurate, but I don't think you can deny that there's been an influx. Like Kylie Kelsey's podcast
of
did
young
better
women.
than
Yes,
Joe
I would
Rogan's.
absolutely say that.
That's why. Why do people even know
Oh,
who
forget-
Jason
don't-
Kelsey
don't even
is?
get me on the
Why
side
is
topic
Jason
of
Kelsey a
podcasts.
household name?
Don't even get me on the ridiculous
You don't like
notion
those metrics
that
either?
Lou Holtz is trying to tell me that 80 million people have downloaded this. I do not believe those numbers at all, ever. That's ridiculous. If everybody was making what they claim to be making on a podcast, no one would do anything but podcasts.
Well, some of
Well,
this,
that's what's
It's
happening.
like this.
Everyone and their
this
mother
many
has a
podcasts that
podcast.
make a lot of money. It's
Right.
very, very
Yes.
small.
And let me see what happens, like, say, after a year of these so-called, Joe Rogan's podcast is ridiculous.
Yeah, the Barstool ones.
Right? Well, let's see what happens with all these other ones that are claiming that,
Oh, yeah.
they do better. We'll see if they're still here in 5 years. But anyway, there is absolutely more young women interested in the NFL because of Taylor Swift. That's an undeniable fact. I just don't think it puts a dent into the overall number. I don't think it's adding 300+ million in revenue. I don't think it's adding a significant amount. The rating for Sunday's game will be very close to the rating for last
the
Super
challenge
Bowl and
of
the Super Bowl before that.
The challenge for the NFL, and maybe you can call it the opportunity, is converting these young women from Swift fans to NFL fans. I don't think that's happening.
That's Fred.
That won't
Fred's
happen.
Fred's
I
got a
agree
better
with that.
argument than me. To
When
be
Travis
honest,
Kelce's not in the league, those girls are gone.
It's so short-sighted. If Travis Kelce
If he
retires
retires
next year,
or
so
they break up,
are they gonna give me
it's done.
breathless reports that they've dropped by 300 million because Taylor Swift's no longer involved? I'll guarantee you're not going to get that because Travis Kelce's probably going to retire after the game Sunday. So you lose Taylor Swift, are you going to lose 335 million in revenue?
Yeah.
Does anybody believe that will happen?
No.
Right.
What if he cheated on her?
But also,
What would
it's
happen?
not really revenue; it's brand value.
Those girls would find
It's a
out.
made-up number.
That's my
Those
point.
TikTokers
It's a
would
made-up
find
number.
out.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Brand equity,
it's
nonsense, and buzzwords. And we're going to effort that. It's like you're in a meeting. It's like going back to last year's head coach with all the buzzwords and the silos and things that don't mean anything.
Well, it's hard to attach specific revenue to it. If it's physical people, like viewers, it's hard
now
to
you get
attach
me.
to actual.
well,
no, I get what you're
a
saying
real
the whole
number would
time,
be if
but
the
I
Kansas
still
City
think it
Chiefs
moved the
came
needle
out
a
and
little.
said, or NFL properties came out and said, we have X amount more, Kelsey jerseys.
Travis Kelce
being
jerseys,
sold
I'm
to
sure.
young women.
Right.
I'm
That's
sure
a
have
real
been
number.
otherwise.
If
Yes.
that's a real number.
And that I would buy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not buy the shirt.
Yeah,
I would
you
buy
would-
the number that
you
they
would-
say.
You don't want
that
a
they
Travis
increase.
jersey?
My guess is Travis Kelce shirt sales have increased.
Yeah.
That would be a pretty safe guess for me.
But-
Can I get back
But
to
how
the
does Taylor Swift
stuff?
feel about everybody wearing her boyfriend's jersey?
I'm much more interested in this larger thing with is this a thing like Taylor Swift can't dress? Like that's a common like women
her
think
style
this?
sucks.
She dresses
Really?
questionable.
Really?
Oh,
'Cause
wow.
I don't know enough.
That girl
I don't
can't
know
dress
enough
to save
about
her
it.
life.
I just like her music.
But even when she dresses,
She's got good songs.
even when she dresses
That's it.
scantily, like
Well, she
when she's
shouldn't
on
do that.
stage and
Her
like,
best-
she looks like somebody that's a band majorette. Like she doesn't really.
That's a great
She has
call.
bad style.
Band majorette.
Yeah, like she doesn't really have the style of a Beyonce, for example. But that's not her. That's not what you're.
She's more of the geeky girl in
Right.
the plaid.
That's why we
and
love her.
weird
Right.
patterns.
Right.
Her best style
That's
was
why she
when she
wears
performed at the
sneakers
Victoria's Secret fashion
on the
show,
bleachers.
and she's so tall that she looked like she could have been one of the models, and it was great. But if she's left to her own devices or
I
whoever
should
her
not be
stylist
left
is,
to
You guys are
my
learning
own
me something.
device. Yep.
needs to-
Yeah,
I feel like this is taking me back to The Devil Wears Prada, which is one of my favorite
Oh, yeah.
movies.
Sure.
And when
Top three.
Anne Hathaway was hired, and
Yeah.
she also probably dressed. she dressed like Taylor Swift, not very well, and she got in an argument and was just like, "I just think that style is a preference." It's like, no, it's not a preference. It's
Wow,
not a
I'm
preference.
kind of surprised. The girl's going after
You either you can dress or you
Wow,
can't.
so
I'm
you're
just
with
like-
me. I'm learning
Well,
something.
everyone
Well,
has
she's
a
wearing
style,
like a
but it may not be good.
oversized Louis Vuitton like giant jacket that looks like it was Travis's, like Off-White probably rolling over in his grave, rest in peace. And it's like red tights with like combat. I just don't get
Wow.
it.
Yeah.
It's like 5 years behind, and it's still even 5 years ago. It was like, ew.
I also
claws
think
are
that some people
out.
think that they can dress because they're wearing something expensive, and just because you put on
Right.
something expensive doesn't mean you know how to dress or style it appropriately.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
I like it.
That's why I have Fred's favorite
You
shirt
can't
on
just
today.
put
But
on Louis
listen,
Vuitton
no.
and Gucci.
Listen, when it comes to
Because the
sports,
person dressed in Laura
pro
Piano
sports, style
with no
is
logos
huge.
looks better.
It's a topic. It's
It
not
is.
just for Taylor Swift fans. For the players themselves, arrival photos are really important to the players these days because they're wearing their own stuff or they're being asked to wear stuff by a local designer or a big time
this is
designer.
where Tamara's
it's a big
point.
and I love it. I think it's a great. It's an added feature of the NFL and pro sports these days. It's great.
But that's the Tamara point about it might be a stylish outfit that she's wearing, but she shouldn't be wearing it.
Yeah.
Or like as you talk about the players, how many times have you seen the play like, wow, that's a really cool suit.
Yeah.
But not everybody can wear it.
No.
You know,
Well,
like an
right.
offensive
No.
lineman can't be wearing
Remember
something
when
that
LeBron-
Like
wide
David
receivers
Andrews
coming
showing
in.
up in like a Keon White outfit would be. I
No,
would pay money to
absolutely
see
not.
it.
You know,
Remember
but
when-
even if it was just like
when Ryan Fitzpatrick came out with like the chain on and
Well, he does that as a joke.
But maybe Christian
But it
McCaffrey
started
might,
from
But Christian
that one
McCaffrey
day.
might be able to pull it
Oh, yeah, he
off,
could.
whereas you know it looks totally different on Cooper Kupp. You know,
remember when LeBron wore his sassy
Little
suit with the
Cooper
shorts,
Kupp.
and like he stormed out of the press conference wearing these shorts. He looked
Who?
so LeBron.
Oh.
Did. It was like a few years ago. Like he had like a regular suit on, but it was short pants.
See, I think a lot of those styles are awful, but you know, I'm sure I'm not the demographic. You know, a 56-year-old white guy, like I don't get it. You know, but it's not for me.
That's like when
I
we were in
understand.
Germany. I was wearing a really chic all-white outfit with like a long coat and an unfortunate
She
situation.
doesn't say so herself. She was wearing a really chic outfit.
She was. Well, Dana
I was
Kraft told me
killing
the
it.
outfit was chic. So,
Whoa,
you know.
all right.
And a billionaire says it. But I spilled, the moral of the story is an unfortunate situation happened and I got red wine spilled
You got
all
schnitzel
over
on
my
it?
outfit. And it was all white. And we go back to the team hotel in Germany and I'm like, I look ridiculous. This is so embarrassing. And security Brian is like, I don't know, if one of the players rolled up on game day wearing that, it'd probably look normal.
Right, it'd
It
be a
was
new
purple
trend.
splattered
Right.
all over, you know? So
Yeah.
it's like, that's a good way to look at it.
It's the wine line. You like that?
There we go.
The wine line.
So
Johnny,
I like that conversation. I'm learning something.
I am too. I'm just surprised because I just like.
And I also learned that Mike likes bangs.
I like to.
I'm not a big fan.
I think he said he liked to get banged.
Everybody's got a type.
Johnny in Madtown writes in, I hate to be that guy. Actually, I don't. Give us one space, I beg of you. One where we don't have to hear about Taylor Swift. She's Voldemort. From here on out, we don't say their name.
I don't know what that means.
That's from
You never watched
Harry
Harry Potter?
Potter.
No.
Did you realize that you had quoted? You did a Taylor Swift song quote while you were doing your thing. Should not be left to her own devices. She's left her own devices. Like, were you working in quotes the whole time? We didn't even realize it.
I think
Oh,
I
that
just
happens to
listened
me
to
all the
so much
time.
of her music that it's just embedded in my brain and it's subconscious.
Ford in Savannah says the only way that 300 million more fans are going to tune into the NFL is if the Kansas City Chiefs turn into Fleetwood Mac of the NFL and Swift has an affair with Mahomes.
Oh man,
Can't say I'm not rooting for that level
That would
of
be pretty
drama.
good.
Well, that's the danger with those. That's what
I
I'm telling
mean,
you.
you can't ignore that guy.
That's what's going to bring the Bills down. You watch.
Imagine
Drama?
that. Imagine that.
I
if,
mean,
like,
it's not going to last.
a turrid three-way affair, and she turned to
Taylor
Or
would
like
not-
Patrick
she would
Mahomes'
never.
He had to get
estranged
divorced.
brother.
Tony Braxton on line 2. This is how the
Yeah,
NBA
yeah,
works.
Patrick Mahomes is not cute.
Have you guys seen his brother on TikTok?
Well, he
he
needs
has
to-
an
he
estranged
needs to
brother
do
that he
hair.
doesn't have a relationship
More than
with.
that.
Like, you're not 5 years old.
No, another
different
brother,
one?
Like,
Tyler.
get a real haircut.
Who?
Patrick Mahomes. It's like a 5-year-old.
I think he's got terrible quarterback style. I think he's amazing. He's a great player, but just to look at him aesthetically, and I love like
I
football
love it. I
aesthetics.
love it.
I'm like he
What-
just
what-
like the head thing and the bad helmet, and like it's too high on his
What does
head.
he do?
and-
He does this.
Yeah,
I love that.
See
how I
that
love.
picture right there? That is the perfect quarterback aesthetic right there.
Oh my
1
god!
or 2 right
I
there.
do feel like you have to have a certain level of swag to be a starting quarterback in the NFL.
And he just
Like,
doesn't
you
care. I
gotta
mean,
have
he's
it.
great. Like, but you know, it just I don't like.
And I will say that his style might not be, but he's got quarterback swag. And
Oh,
I
yeah.
agree with
Oh,
Tamara
yeah.
1,000%.
He does it his own way.
Every great quarterback has it. Has
You gotta
that.
have it.
Like Manning
Way he
kind of was
walks
like
with
that
his head
too.
cocked
Yeah.
to the side.
Like Manning had weird kind of ticks too. Like that was another thing about Manning. Like Brady to me was just perfect. Like he just looked quarterback.
Made
Like
When the
in a
quarterback
test
walks
tube.
in the
Tom
room,
Brady
you should
was
say
made
to
in a
yourself,
test tube.
that's the quarterback.
Oh, no question with Brady, and I mean Manning too. But it's just I never liked Manning's face mask. He was always jumpy in the pocket.
What you're saying
and-
is the Manning brothers are not as fortunate
Oh,
looking
and
as
don't
Tom
even
Brady
get me
is,
going on
and that's
Eli.
all it is.
No, I mean like Aaron Rodgers. I think
Well, who's
great
the coolest quarterback
aesthetic.
out there right now?
Joe Burrow.
Of course.
Joe Burrow, totally.
Joe Cool.
I think Lamar
Joe
Jackson's
Cool.
got great
Burrow.
style. Like he
Hurts-
looks the part.
Hurts,
like really.
Hurts and his fiance are like.
I don't
talk
like Jalen
about
Hurts.
good style.
Hurts is
no.
almost too cool.
That helmet.
I will
He's
say
too cool.
No.
You're out
Jaden
of your mind.
Daniels,
I have worries
he's like
about it.
so chill.
Oh yeah.
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 I hate those new helmets
just-
without the bar across the top. They look stupid. Don't wear them, anyone ever, please.
Why are you so
Oh,
fixated on
I
these
like
This guy
helmets.
with his
I
uniform
like helmets.
fashion.
Uniform
helmets.
fashion.
Yeah.
He's
I
the,
like
he's
bangs
the helmet
and healthy,
police.
Oh.
and healthy quarterback aesthetics, please. You know what I'm
Wasn't
talking
Batista
about.
in our meeting last week who said that he thinks that the silver pants are like just overused?
You're dead.
Yeah. They're just going for it now.
The lures
Well, especially with the white pants.
Well, they're better than
A
the
uniform
blue.
that doesn't
Right.
match.
Yeah, they're better than blue.
What if
The
we
blue
did?
with the silver pants is fine.
Sure.
Yeah.
The white with the silver pants doesn't
don't like that?
doesn't match, and the pants just look dirty. If
Okay.
you ask,
What-
you know,
what-
my
what-
very
What if we wore those jerseys with those
uninformed
pants?
opinion.
Sure.
Bill writes in, what does everyone think of Pasta's outfit he wears to the rink for every nationally televised game?
Oh, well, he's
I'd have to
he's
pay attention.
Czech,
I love
so
his
I think
floral
you
suits.
gotta have. I know you gotta appreciate like the Eastern European kind of style that he rocks. So I don't know. I always give those guys a little.
He can
But
do
he's
no
funny with
wrong.
like the glasses.
Yeah,
and
his
you
little
gotta tell
hats
he's got
he
a
wears.
I feel like
bad
there's different
mustache.
brackets for like Celtics, like NBA arrivals, NFL arrivals, and then hockey
hockey's like
arrivals.
goofy.
They're
we're
just in
screwing
different-
around.
There
oh
is
yeah,
They're in different buckets.
Yeah, totally.
Yep. Robert writes in, it's great to hear Tamara's voice on the show once again. I started to get worried that I missed an announcement that she was moving on. We have an announcement?
Do you have something to
What
tell
was
us?
that face for? What was that face
You
for?
looked at me first.
On Tuesday's show, I loved the Mike Paul exchange about Josh's role in Brady's development. Is this the first time that they have had such a heated exchange?
Yeah, we
I
high-fived after the show.
I say this in jest as I was fully anticipating Deuce quoting Ray Liotta from Goodfellas to end the show. How am I funny?
That was fun. It was fun.
Just to be clear, that's a Joe Pesci line, not a Ray Liotta.
Oh yeah.
Am I
Me,
clown
what
to
am I?
you?
Clown to you?
Funny like a clown?
Funny how?
You imagine
how?
being able
Do
to
I
scare
amuse
somebody
you?
like that. Like I love that character in that thing. Like he just all of a sudden turns and is that much of like, oh God, like no, dude,
Like,
we
he-
weren't
he was a
insulting you at all.
lunatic.
You know,
Yeah,
like
no,
you
no,
just
Tommy,
knew,
you got it all wrong. No,
Yeah,
he's a
yeah.
big boy. He knows what he said.
right, and you're like getting uncomfortable, and that's why I think it was satisfying when they finally got him at the end. You know, he just knew finally the bad guy was going.
I want to go back to some. I
Spoiler
want to
alert.
actually turn back to
Spoiler
football for a
alert.
second.
80s.
Eldred said something in an email, kind of triggered it about a rumor about a trade.
Joe Milton to the Raiders. I
Yeah.
hadn't heard that.
I hadn't
I've
either.
heard a lot of Joe Milton's gonna, get us vintage Tom Brady in a trade. I'm sorry if I'm going to be a little skeptical of that.
But do you think that somebody like the Raiders, if let's say they bring in Russell Wilson, like maybe they
Okay.
want to get a guy like Milton to kind of develop behind him?
I'd like to ask. I would like to ask
Why
Evan.
wouldn't you just draft one then?
I'd like to ask Evan a
Because
question.
Milton, you can Milton's
Okay.
got an arm.
He's got an
Okay.
unbelievable arm.
Yeah. So maybe they
But if
see,
you're just looking for a developmental mobile quarterback, just draft one.
I know,
Like,
but
why are you going to give up a
Do they-
resource
because
to
maybe
trade
you
for
see
one?
something in Milton specifically that you say this guy can do it.
Well, I mean,
Are
he had
they
a good
worried
game
they're
in
not
the
going to be
NFL.
able to trade up and get one? A good one that
Well,
can play right now?
The Raiders?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, Fred's saying that they will sign like Russell Wilson to
Mm.
play, but they want Milton as a backup. I don't know why you would
But
trade
not
for
a backup, a developmental future guy.
Yeah, I don't know why you would trade for that.
No, I don't know. I mean, it's
'Cause
he
you
played-
love him.
Yeah.
Well,
I
then
mean,
why are you signing Russell Wilson? Just trade from Joe Milton
Because he's
and let
not
him play.
ready yet. Why do you have to be so difficult?
Because I
that's
don't.
his thing.
I can't get past the fact that he's like the 200th pick of the draft and played a game, and now he's worth giving up resources to be your developmental guy. That's better than anybody coming out of the draft now.
What about a 5th round pick? Is that too much to ask?
I mean, I wouldn't do it if I were the Raiders, but I don't know. Someone might.
Okay.
I'm just intrigued. I was shocked that they hired such an old coach because I was expecting like, okay, if you're drafting a young quarterback, wouldn't you want your coach to be around to
Well, I
develop
don't
him and stay
think they're
with
going to
him?
be able to draft a young quarterback. That's the problem
Yeah.
where they are. But yeah, I think the Pete Carroll hire was dumb.
It was strange. It was
And
very
is-
strange.
And if it's true that it was a Tom Brady choice,
Mhm.
what
then,
do you
then
think?
his is in question. So here's one that I'm going to kill my show.
Yeah.
Right.
Nice.
They're big on this. Oh, who'd you rather have, Tom Brady? What? Why didn't Robert Kraft do this for Tom Brady? Why didn't? So his first big move is to sign Pete Carroll as the coach, and this is the thing that you're trying to tell me is why we should be lamenting that. This is our FOMO. Like they got Pete Carroll. Like why on earth would you lose an ounce of sleep? Like that could have been us. Seriously?
Liam Cohen.
I thought they were gonna try to get Ben Johnson, but so when they got Pete Carroll, I was like, huh?
Right.
Well, I think they tried, and he said no,
maybe
right?
Tom Brady's, gravitas could get you the best coach on the market. No, it got you Pete Carroll, who is I'm not diminishing his career, but he's 73 years old.
Yeah.
What are you going to get out of Pete Carroll? And now they're trying to link him with a quarterback. Well, now Tom Brady will he'll probably want a guy that he knows that he can be comfortable with. Like, oh, Aaron Rodgers makes all the sense in the world. This is inspiring confidence. This is the plan.
Yeah.
This is the plan that you think we should be lamenting missing out on. Pete Carroll and Aaron Rodgers. Those are my guys.
Yeah,
on my show.
I heard it. Another trade, AJ writes in, he hears a rumor about a TJ Watt trade.
So I saw this online. I don't think it was reputable in any way. And I got the text from my son TJ texted me yesterday. Are we really in line to get TJ Watt? I go, I don't think so, buddy. He goes, damn.
Yeah, take him. Yeah.
While I would like that, I would also not like that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, right.
Uncle Mike.
Giveth and you taketh away.
I would not like that.
I
but
thought you were
would
going
like
to say,
that.
I actually
feel like
have some
there's-
inside information.
I feel
That's
like
what happened.
There's
He ain't going anywhere.
There's no way I feel like they're going to let him walk out
No.
the door. There's no
No.
way.
No.
I feel like he's the type of person that's going to be like a Steeler for life.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that people are throwing these big splashes out there because I think that's what the team needs.
Oh,
And
yeah.
They need an influx
It's
of
good
that
for the
kind of
league.
talent, and it's
Yeah.
hard to project what
Hot
kind of
stove
trades
top.
can happen. You know, they usually come out of nowhere. I'm sure you guys can all talk to that of trades that you're like, we just traded
Richard
for this guy.
Seymour.
It's never the people that you're really speculating on. It's like, wow, this deal just kind of came together.
Yeah.
And I think that's what they need this offseason.
Jeremiah says, I totally agree with the whole quarterback swag thing. Whenever Mac Jones walked across the stage
Oh,
for
yeah.
draft night, I
Yep.
knew he was going to
Ick.
be a rough tenure in New
Ick.
England.
Yeah. Ick.
There's just a look. I'd also put it
I
like
need to speak to the manager.
like Willie McGinnis is like just the perfect outside linebacker, 55, like the old school. Like I love that. I love it.
Eduardo says, last podcast there were no ladies, and Deuce was looking mighty fresh. The beautiful ladies, Alex and Tamara, are both on, and Deuce is in an old hoodie. Come
right.
on, man, do better.
No, sorry, that's a little throwback.
That's actually a nice hoodie.
Yeah, does anyone want to guess? So this is a Bill Belichick, I'm the hoodie guy.
It's looking very Bill Belichick.
Well, it is. It's old. I didn't cut it off yet, but there was a famous playoff loss in this particular hoodie. It was cut off. Does anyone care to venture a guess on which playoff loss Bill Belichick wore this particular hoodie?
Was it Reebok?
With a cut off. Exactly this, just cut off.
It had to be
Ravens, 09.
Nope.
No, earlier.
No.
Really?
2010.
We were
Jets.
still with Reebok
I was one
back
off.
2010 Jets.
I was
Okay.
literally
it
one game
It changed
off.
in 2012. 2012 was when Reebok went away and Nike took over. But yeah, two famous things with this one was he wore this in the Jets game. It was cut off. You might remember him yelling at Patrick Chung about calling that fake punt that backfired on the sidelines. Yeah. And then in 2017, long after Reebok was no longer the hoodie supplier of the NFL, in the playoff game against the Titans, he had this on underneath his jacket, and I'm at like a bar. Me and Fitzy did like a bar party for the game, and everyone's excited about the playoff game. And I'm like, he's wearing a Reebok hoodie in 2017 because you're not supposed to, like he couldn't show the old the
Duct
logo.
tape the logo.
So I don't know. That was that's a little insight into more of my nerddom.
Have you had that this whole time, or was that an eBay find?
Oh no, I've had this one. This is personal. I bought this actually with
It
my
looks
own
like
money.
it's in good condition.
Yeah, pretty good.
So,
I
He
protect
has
them.
never seen the dryer.
Since Deuce seems to be into coach's style, what's
Sure.
Vrabel's
Seems
style?
Well,
Is he a
that's
hoodie guy? Is
sleeveless.
he a
No, Tamara.
sleeveless
windbreaker.
windbreaker,
Sleeveless
like,
windbreaker
vest.
with like a
Yeah.
tight long sleeve on. I don't
Yeah.
know. It's definitely got a look.
It's a
right?
look.
Yeah, he's got
It's
a look.
definite
You can
look.
tell he's like
The
a
vest
vest
is
guy.
giving finance, bro.
He's got the long arms. I think
Well, it's
that's
not a
what it's
puffy
probably
vest.
hard.
It's not a
Puffy vest is the
Patagonia
fine-
one.
Yeah, that's the
Ooh,
finance.
you know what
bro.
I just thought though?
Let me
He's
tell you
got
what you
long
did
arms,
now.
right? It's
Oh, yeah.
probably opposite of Belichick always said he cut the hoodies off because he had short arms. So I think Mike goes vest with the long sleeves so that his arms are free.
To
They're not,
accentuate his arms.
Accentuate them, a little
Yeah.
bit when he does. Remember the push-ups before the playoff game?
I didn't care for that.
We should ask him about that.
Which is all, it all comes back. See, now, I'll be consistent and say I agree with Fred. It was a hard-o move. Fred will now love it when he does it, opening day.
No, well, what was the last Chargers coach name?
Brandon Staley.
Brandon Staley doing the cat cows on the sideline with like his back arching in the back.
Oh, yeah.
Doing,
That's a
like,
real yoga term.
I know. Well, thank you. I do a little yoga.
I dabble.
let's-
He's from LA.
Do you know what a cat cow is?
I did
No.
cat cows this morning in my workout.
You got to.
I mean, I know the
It's a good
term.
backstretch.
Yeah.
You should do
I know
it
the
every
term, but
morning.
no, I don't know what it is.
It's not something you should be doing on the sideline.
You know, like
It's
when
not
a
something I
cat.
should be doing.
No,
too.
definitely not. It's very no.
I'll hurt myself.
All the ladies would get a little hot and bothered. Paul started doing.
Let's get to the
Paul, are you
PBX
trying to
hotline. A couple more calls before we have to call it quits today. Robert is in Henderson. Is that in Las Vegas?
Yeah.
Nevada.
Yeah.
Robert.
Robert.
is no longer there. 3, 2,
Wanted
1.
to ask
You're
about
out.
Coyotes in Henderson.
We'll go
Let's
to
go in Henderson, Nevada.
We'll go to L.A. Nelson, what's up, L.A. Nelson?
Hey, how we doing, guys?
All right.
Nelson.
Don't swear.
Man, y'all doing
Again.
a wonderful job instead of talking about dressing and stuff. Y'all losing me a little bit over there. We're football.
I know. What are you gonna do?
Not dressing.
Yeah, is that it?
No. One more thing. What's up with everybody saying that Kelsey's better than Gronk? I don't think Kelsey is better than Gronk. Gronk is the best tight end ever, and that's it. Hopefully, I won a wonderful day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Nelson. I think the best all around is Gronk is better, but man, you can't argue with Kelsey's production and his winning. I mean, who's going to deny that?
No.
I mean, it's unbelievable the numbers he's put up.
Do you think that he would have the same production on another team, like anywhere else?
Well, I think Patrick Mahomes has a lot to do with that,
Mhm.
obviously, and Andy Reid. But you could say the same thing with Gronk.
Right.
Yeah.
Like if he was with Cleveland all those
Mhm.
years, or would he have had? No, of course not. And a lot of people, the thing they're pointing to with Kelsey mostly is his playoff production.
Oh, yeah.
In the last 17 games, 18 touchdowns.
It's amazing.
1,300 yards. I mean, it's like in the biggest games.
Mhm.
You can't deny that. So, let's give him his due.
And he also,
let's not get
in
defensive.
this particular game. I don't think he holds a candle to Gronk overall, but in this particular game, he blocked really well too.
Yeah. Now, if Gronk was as healthy as Kelsey has been, not that Kelsey hasn't had injuries, but Gronk had big injuries.
Yep.
Major.
And it stunted his career a little bit.
Absolutely.
Broke his arm. He had to wear a brace the rest of
Yeah.
it. I mean, that Cleveland knee
We
hit.
probably would have had another Super Bowl if he wasn't hurt.
Definitely.
Maybe 5.
I don't know what it would have been like
Yeah.
in Indianapolis for you guys, but I'm sure it would have
Yeah.
been. Is that where it was? No.
James Pettigrew.
Unseasonably warm that
Yeah.
week in Indianapolis.
Yeah, it was a great week. James Pettigrew, the most interesting Patriots fan in the world, writes in, when Joe Burrow smokes a cigar, it looks like he earned it. When Mac Jones smokes a cigar, it looks like he stole it from his dad's humidor.
Oh.
That's a good analogy.
I will
That
say,
tracks.
I will say, everyone should not be allowed to do that after a big win.
Smoke cigars?
Yes. You have to have earned it, as he said, but also have the swag to do it.
Yeah.
Like everyone does not look right doing it.
I know. It's true.
You can't do it. Not everyone can do it.
Like, he looked good in college. doing
Yes.
it,
Yes. I will never forget his senior night doing that. Like, I never will.
Yep. The camera LSU had too on him. Like
So good.
I stole one of my dad's cigars once in front of my friends and smoked it, and I threw up.
Well, because you inhaled?
Can't inhale.
I was doing it. I don't know what I'm cool. Sorry, guys, I gotta go home.
I've never smoked
Let
a
me tell
cigar.
you, Cincinnati doesn't deserve Joe Burrow. He needs to be in New
Yeah.
York.
Oh.
He should not be in Cincinnati.
I mean, me and Matt, we gotta love him because he's a major Star Wars nerd. I think it's so fun. I mean, he bought like a Batman suit. Like, he's buying a Batmobile.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I just love that he's a nerd, but everybody thinks he's super cool. I love it.
Does he have a girlfriend?
Yeah.
And a
That was
nanny,
the-
and a
Well,
house sitter.
where do we start?
That's why I knew.
He has a thing for women named Olivia.
He's got a roster.
Oh.
As they say.
Okay.
Well, his long-term girlfriend was named Olivia, and then some people were speculating they broke up, and then he had a break-in, and a Sports Illustrated model named Olivia is the one who was the first reporter to the police.
What was her guise though? Like, what was she supposed to be? Like, wasn't she supposed to be like his house sitter or something?
They said that she worked for him.
Not a very
but
good
what
house
is
sitter.
a
No.
Sports Illustrated
Like Jordan works for
model
Bill
who's
Belichick kind of
23
thing?
working for Joe
Yikes.
Jeez.
In the words of a former coach, he said it, not me. Robertson Henderson, he's calling back. What's up, Robert?
Hello. Sorry, it might be late in the show. I got disconnected. But my question for you today: if the Chiefs three-peat, is it better than what the Patriots did? Is it a better dynasty? Is Andy Reid? Does he pass Bill Belichick? I don't think Patrick Mahomes quite will pass Tom Brady with this three-peat, but he's definitely he's climbing the ladder. And I just
Sure.
want to know what your comparisons are
So
to the dynasty.
Yep, the Patriots did not three-peat. So if the Chiefs do that, it's something the Patriots never did. But the Patriots sustained the type of success winning Super Bowls for 20 years. And that's something that, to this time, the Chiefs have not done yet. So let's see. Right now, the Patriots dynasty is better than the Chiefs dynasty. But the Chiefs are on track, if they keep doing this, to be better.
I totally agree. That's 100% what it is.
Thanks-
I would
thanks,
just
Robert.
say that Mahomes is ahead of schedule.
Oh, yeah.
What Mahomes has done so far in his time as the starter is greater than what Brady did at the same time.
But think about it in perspective too, like the Chiefs, Mahomes, Andy Reid winning like the 2036 Super Bowl. You know, like that's the longevity. Which look, they might bang out 5, 6, 7 of them before 2030, whatever, and it's better.
Yeah.
But still, just that's what's overwhelming
But
to me. It's just
what
how
happens
long
if they
it
don't
was.
have a 10-year gap?
No, I mean, they're just different.
That,
you know?
that
like,
would be my concern.
Well,
no, I'm saying as a Patriots fan,
know,
I would
but-
worry
but
about that.
Even that 10-year gap, within
Still
that
went to the
gap
Super Bowl
were
twice.
were Super Bowls that they got to when they
Oh, yeah,
lost,
right.
and a lot of AFC championships that they were in. So it wasn't like they stopped winning during that gap.
No. But my point being, right now, like I think it's 7 years. Is it 18, 19, 20, 21? Yeah, 7 years. Mahomes has 3 titles, same as Brady, but also 2 other trips to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And that's better than what Brady did.
Sure.
So what if he keeps doing this?
Then he's going to be better.
No, but I know, but people just dismiss that as out of hand. Is my point.
Oh, that it can't happen?
That can't happen. I got news for you. As long as he's healthy,
Yeah.
it can happen.
Right. I agree.
Like they're not just going to miss the playoffs,
Yeah.
like which I think you might have predicted last year when their window closed.
They started out slowly. I was onto something. That was 2 years ago, actually.
That's what I'm saying. Last year, not this year. This year's still going.
But here's the thing about the Patriots dynasty, you know, in the 20-year span. Even if you look at dynasties of the past, the 49ers, the Steelers, the Cowboys, they didn't do what the Patriots did.
No.
The Patriots redefined what it means to be a dynasty in the NFL, and it's the duration and the winning throughout that.
Yeah.
And so could the Chiefs do that? Yes, they can.
Yeah.
Yes, they can. They're on track to do it and to do better.
I don't think Mahomes will
but
play
there's
until
a lot,
his mid-40s.
There's a lot
I don't
that
think
can
that will
happen
happen.
between now and then, and that's why the odds are against
But
them.
I don't see if you're just going to go strictly chronological, it's the amount of years. I don't think Mahomes will play until his mid-40s.
I don't think.
I think he might win more than Brady did before he's done.
Yeah, that's
but he
probably
won't play
the-
until his mid-40s.
yeah, that's probably the
because I
safe
don't
bet.
think he has any interest in it.
Yeah. I
Why?
still don't think Andy Reid is going to be coaching so
I
long.
don't think he'll want to do that.
Really? I
Yep.
think he loves football.
Yeah, he does, but I don't think he wants to play when he's 45. We'll see.
If he
Maybe
can,
I'll
he
be
would.
wrong.
Yeah. All right, that's going to be it for this edition of Patriots Unfiltered. Remember, sign up for the newsletter. Go to patriots.com/PU newsletter. Make sure you get it. It's coming out tomorrow. We will see you next Tuesday.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.
The world's original podcast.